everyone, and welcome to REZOcast episode 123. This is Lego.
Oh, that was so lame.
I've got with me Hope, Triton, Wilson, Mana, and our special guest from Resolute this week. We've got Darth Loki and RiverTamKat. I don't know why. I had it written down. I got super dyslexic.
You don't remember their names?
Listen.
RiverTamKat.
No,
Lego jokes in the chat.
That camo tag.
Listen to what I wrote down. I wrote down River for some reason. I don't know what's happening on my notes. But welcome back, you guys. It has been a while. How are y'all doing?
You're doing great, Lego.
Lego.
Yes. That could catch on.
Lego Sack is still my favorite.
Oh man. Well, we're glad to have y'all back. I know it's been a while, but me and Loki just played some games together. We actually played multiple this week, I think.
Poorly.
It's not Destiny related. No. We've been hitting Apex Legends up quite a bit.
I was there too.
Oh yeah.
Anybody listening?
Before I was, yeah.
It's 5 for 5 for Stick in the Mud. Hope, you want to talk about it? Jeez.
Well, actually, we kind of did a switcheroo thing.
Didn't we get a win as soon as Hove left too?
Oh,
we did. Yeah. I don't know. Hove, you didn't get a win with Loki?
It's because it was Loki.
I'll come to Hove's defense. My past 3 wins have been with Hove. So.
Oh, okay.
Mana, how many wins did we have yesterday?
Like at least 37.
Nice.
Rounding down.
Older than me. Okay.
Shit.
Well, how have y'all's weeks been? What have y'all been up to?
I've been busy with work, but I had a snow day yesterday. That was kind of nice, but kind of means I really can't take off tomorrow, which I was planning on doing for Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
So just still trying to get caught up at work right now.
Yeah, same. I haven't been playing much Destiny. I actually did log in a little bit on Tuesday because it's a curse week. So I know that Mara's not supposed to be in her throne, but I wanted to see what was up there. So played about 20 minutes, got my Oracle offering to the Oracle, went in, and it was kind of interesting. There was an emissary right before you go in, and they're like, she's not here. And I'm like, but it opened up, and I still got like the lore, the truth to power out of the chest. So there's new lore at least to get. So
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
try that out. But
Cool.
it's empty in there. She pieced out for sure. So
I know.
Other than that, yeah.
I was anxious about that too, like what was gonna happen, like whenever you went in there. So I'm glad to have that confirmed because I read that, but I like wasn't sure because I hadn't done it myself yet either.
Because Lego's apparently bad at reading.
But other than that, I've
Jesus.
also been taking a big break, a lot of work, but playing a lot of my 3DS, bringing out some old school RPGs that I left by the wayside. So
Which ones?
Yeah, what you playing on?
gosh, I just finished Bravely Default, which is kind of old, but I ended up with like 110 hours in it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
I know. it at the end, it was good. So, yeah.
Do you are you into Pokemon at all on the handheld?
It's like, I'm not gonna show my age, but that's like right. We were like 16 when Pokemon came out, so it's like right over.
All the cool kids were doing it, man.
No, they still
I
aren't.
my car, man. I don't know. So.
I've got a bunch of 3DS games, so if you're ever interested, I can always send some your way. For,
Awesome.
We got Pokemon banned at our school.
Yeah, same. The cards, everything.
Yep.
Like,
because it was like drug deals outside of recess.
Yeah.
Drug deals.
I kind of
Everyone's just trading cards,
and the
man.
Freshmen like having fun with that, and I was like, "What is that crap?" I don't know.
Oh well, here in the South, everyone thought it was like witchcraft, and so they like wouldn't let any of the
It is
kids
witchcraft.
do it. They're like, "No, it's satanic. You can't play that stuff."
It's exactly
it was like
what
Dungeons and Dragons in the
Believable.
80s. Everybody thought that was satanic, and
Exactly.
that's what I've been hooked on lately. I'm in like a super weird spot with video games right now. Like totally playing Apex, having a good time, playing with Hove, playing with Sam a lot, Marcus, Lego, a lot of people. And it's cool having a game that like your friends list is lit up with. Like no matter what game it is, like as long as like you and a lot of your friends are playing it, it's always good to like have that huge roster on the friends list. So that kind of makes me feel good. Playing with some people as well that I haven't played with in a long time. But I am hooked on some Dungeons and Dragons, dude. Like, I am in love, dude. Because, like, hear me out. Like, you ever go into a game and like something's happening or like someone's being fucking weird in game and you just want to tell them that like they're creeping you out? Well, you could do this in this game. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, there is somewhat of like rails, but like, dude, it is like a true legit choose your own adventure game. Got a lot of roll a lot of dice. You get to role play. You get to be someone you're not. It's a lot of fun. Me and the group that I'm with are having an absolute blast, and it's to the point now to where we're getting it down like every Sunday is when we have like a session. So like I'm totally down the rabbit hole of rolling D20s and D10s and 8s, all the different, you know, dice sets and stuff like that. And
D12.
Going into those like little like game stores in the mall looking for like his special dice.
So we do this thing. We do this thing called Roll20, and like we all hop in Discord, and like my buddy creates like these little like custom maps and boards, and like, you know, we get to like move them around with like our mouse and stuff, and like you roll initiative and all this different stuff, and like there's like lighting effects. Like I chose poorly, and I'm like the only human in the group, so like I can't see shit when we go into a dungeon. Like I'm always like got my arm behind the guy who can like see in the dark and shit like that. So it's pretty cool. And our DM, great American hero, I talk about him all the time, the old Tower Life leader, he has just done a fantastic job of just creating an awesome world where just this group of cool bandit misfits have come together for like the greater good. Like we started off just like stealing shit from people and like seeing what we can get away with in game and stuff, and now there's like an actual path that we're on, like trying to figure stuff out, and it's cool. It's a lot of fun. It's been
did y'all hear about the Destiny Dungeons and Dragons thing? Like someone was trying to like create a Destiny world version of that, and he was putting it all, or they were putting it all together.
Yo, that could be legit.
Yeah, I don't know what its status is. I just knew it was getting real popular for a second there.
Speaking of Destiny things, on this Destiny podcast, did you see? Did you see somebody just is a former Bungie dev? I guess he's moved on since, but they get like a few days a year where they can work on like whatever, and they made a very, very basic. It doesn't really do much, but like a 1v1 3D fighting game with Destiny characters.
What?
Yeah, they made it like
a fighting game, like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's like
what?
Yeah, just Google it. I've seen a couple articles on it. It's not really functioning. They just had literally like 4 days to code and make this, but it's pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
You want to beat up on your most hated class? Maybe you can play that game someday.
I want to slap the shit out of Zavala.
Dude, Titans.
Wow, harsh.
Finally get to take out some aggression.
What? He's worthless.
Who said that?
Wow.
Who's talking? Oh. Hi, Mana.
Hello.
I didn't see you there.
This is your cautious speaking.
Mana, what have you been up to, man?
Playing a copious amounts of Apex, and I should have been playing more Anthem to at least get through it. And I kept on promising Iced and Bones, and I was like, just one more day, I'll grind with you guys, and then I play Apex. So
we killed it yesterday.
Oh, yesterday we were all just...
What did we have, like a 20, 22, 23, 24, something like that kill game?
Wow.
Remember?
I don't even remember.
Between
I believe the
of
number
us?
shouted out earlier was 37.
No, that was how many wins we had.
That's how many wins, yeah.
Okay. Right.
Apologies.
For what? We played like 3 hours, and...
At least.
We were... I don't know what we were on last night, honestly, but we started off really hot.
Crack cocaine, kids.
Meth.
Yes.
I apparently need to try that when I play X.
Actually, well, I mean, I was pretty close. I was just chugging pixie sticks, so I mean...
Were you... Oh, I forgot to... I don't know why this
sugar.
made me think
Okay.
of it, but I forgot to send out any words to anybody. God damn it.
Oh.
Pixie sticks made you think of it?
Yeah.
He was
Made
like,
you
"Oh,
think
that's
of
a
word
great word.
insertion?
Why didn't I think of that?"
Because who talks about pixie sticks? Nobody.
That's what you were talking about when I came back, and you're like, Wilson has. Wilson, I bet you've snorted pixie sticks. And I'm like, no, bro.
That's true. Back.
Well, that's because Mana talked about pixie sticks.
I just wanted to get my Cheddar Bay biscuits, dog. That's all.
You were supposed to eat one on the podcast, Sam told me.
Dude, I couldn't. Dude, munchies. When munchies attack, you know what I'm saying? And there's warm Cheddar Bay biscuits in front of me. Those are getting max. Believe
so,
that.
I had a pretty big week. In no particular order, on the gaming side, Wilson and I played with some Sea of Thieves with Dewey and Briar, and that was fucking hysterical. That shit is so funny. If you don't have it, get it. And play with friends. Don't play alone.
Yeah, play with friends.
Or if you play alone, we're probably going to find you. And even though you're just kind of looking at us, we're going to shit on you and sink your boat.
Yar.
Yeah. On Friday, listen, did anybody here even know that Detroit-style pizza was a thing?
No.
No.
Neither did I.
Chicago and New York, right?
That's what I thought. Apparently,
Yeah,
there's
like
Detroit-style.
Yeah, and then
So-
pineapple recently became like a huge debate.
Well, that's a topping. You can put that
I know,
on anything.
but still, it's an epic debate.
You're an epic
Yeah,
debate.
okay. Continue with the pizza.
So there's this place near my house that apparently is fairly new. It's called Ironborn Pizza in Pittsburgh. It's in the Strip.
Ironborn.
Yeah. I don't think it has anything to do with Game of Thrones. But anyway, it's so I looked it up because it said like our twist on Detroit style pizza. And it's kind of like deep dish, but it's pan pizza too. But like, you know how deep dish, like, you know, it's like doughy. It's like pizza dough the whole way through.
Yeah,
This is
like
like they
lasagna.
bake a loaf of bread and then put a bunch. It's the best thing. It might have been the best pizza I've ever had in my
That sounds
entire
good.
life.
Really?
Like how you
now.
described it, and everyone was like a bunch of inquisitive
Yeah.
detectives. We were all like,
Dude, it is so. It is so. I'm gonna put a picture of it
Continue, yes.
in chat. I'm sorry for
First
anybody who's
picture
watching
you put as a
live.
trophy.
Yeah.
I can't put
Writing
it.
down this.
I can't put it in Twitch chat, but I can put it in this chat, and it is fantastic. But anyway, so I had that on Friday, and then on Tuesday I went and got a cheesecake, which was delicious. Also, Gorniak said in chat, Little Caesars is based in Detroit, but it's not Detroit-style pizza. Actually, when they started doing their deep dish, even though it sucks because it's Little Caesars, that was based on Detroit-style deep dish pan
bro,
pizza.
hold on. You can't hate on
Little Caesars is the worst pizza
Listen,
in history.
Chuck E.
little.
Cheese is
Just hear me out, dude. Little Sleezers, $5 hot and sweaty.
I'd rather get hot and
So
sweaty
good.
on the
They're
corner for
just-
$5.
I'm just saying, when you need a pizza quick for $5, that shit
They're
is
there for
hot
you,
and
man.
sweaty, and it's
I know.
ready
They're,
for you.
they're just
man.
there for you.
Oh, it's true.
You can get their deep dish hot and ready's too, man. Like,
That's not $5 though. That one is like $6 or $7.
yeah, it's just a little upgrade, but still,
Can that
still
be
hot and
the
ready.
It's an
upsell?
upgrade, man. It's like more
Like-
like an upcharge. I don't know if that's.
It's an upsell.
Hey, does
Well,
this
I
count?
mean,
Does this count as
maybe a
derailing the
1,000 more
podcast
calories.
if I never got us on the
but-
rails?
But I think hot and ready needs to be some sort of tagline for Hove, like maybe
Hove, hot and ready.
Dream, or you know,
Done.
like a
When you meet
Yeah.
Ariana,
somehow.
hot and ready.
Oh, I was hot and ready. I licked icing off of her.
And he became hot and sweaty.
True. We have
True.
taken some of those things and applied them to Holmes' life. I mean, he still has maximum effort as his Pornhub username. So
Also, for anyone
Take hot
listening,
and
I
ready.
want to point out that just today, one of our questions later for River and Loki was, who's your favorite RezoCast member? And Triton
Already answered
chimes
that.
in, oh, I hope somebody will finally say me. So I, being the good friend I am, replied and said, Triton, you're always my favorite RezoCast member, even though
Wow.
you go to Eaton Park without me. That was today. Do
Oh.
you know what he did for dinner? He went to fucking Eaton Park without me. Today. After
like-
I said that.
I mean, that is true. Well, that was a terrible impression of me, but otherwise, I did go to Park today for dinner.
He can't even defend it. He's like, yeah, I haven't.
I mean, I did.
Last,
This is
okay,
pure-
I'm almost done. I promise. Lego's gonna murder me.
Full attack
Um,
mode.
Lastly, after I got my cheesecake on Tuesday, it must have been Lucky Cheesecake because I came home and that that kidney stone that had been bothering me, it's gone. I got rid of it.
Yeah, and you know where it ended
Wow.
up? In
Here we
my
are.
DMs. In my DMs.
It ended up in my text messages. That's what
yeah, that's where I ended up in my text. I was like, what does this mean?
Anybody
I didn't know
else?
what I was looking
Anybody else want to see it?
No,
No, we're good.
Glad you
Nope.
spared the chat.
It just
Please.
looks like a
I
little
think-
rock.
think you're
Looks
gonna
like a
get
meteorite
banned
from
from
space.
Finally.
You need to keep that.
That's a
off
medical
stream.
thing. That's totally
Nazi
fine.
That kidney rock came from the moon.
Dude, look like I came from fucking space. Look like I was like, is that an asteroid? No, it's my kidney stone, dog. Oh, that's good.
Mana goes, why are you sending me a picture of a quarter? Because I put it next to a quarter for size comparison.
I was like, yeah, I was literally, what does it mean? He's like, what? I'm like, the quarter. It's a kidney stone. I was like, Jesus fuck.
I forgot about the
Stand
pet.
now.
The quarter.
Welcome back to RezoCast.
The very last thing.
And River.
My favorite part of playing Apex yesterday with Mana, I told him I was going to bring this up. So, do you know the anyone who plays this? Do you know over at I think Repulsor, there's those 2 big buildings that have like the bays underneath that you can go under the tanks and like they connect the 2 buildings. So we're down there because we had fought a team. There was one guy left, and
God damn it.
Mana's running back and forth, and he's going, I hear him. He's right above me. I hear him. He's gonna drop down any second now. Wait, I hear him. And he's gonna drop down any second now. Right about then, he was already down there. I was fighting him, and when Mana was down, I said, "Man, he's already dead. I'm looting him." Oh.
It was latency, obviously.
Yeah, he was like, "It's the party latency."
It's PSN party latency. Like, I didn't hear it.
You got that good 1 second delay on PSN. Like,
It was-
sometimes it's just enough.
It's just Hove was very responsive, okay? He acted.
You hear that? I was hot and ready.
Yeah.
Well, Hove, that actually reminds me of something from my week, which was playing with Claw, who has joined us on PS4 for Apex, which has been really fun. And it was me, him, and a friend, and I ended up solo. Just the 2 of them died immediately, and it was just me trying to recover their the tags real quick to like make it back. And so, well, first, before I could even do that, there were 3 people I had to deal with. So I ended up 1v3ing these people and then grab both the tags and zone. We're like out of zone already. Like when I'm fighting these people, finally defeat them, grab both the tags, and Claw's in the middle of like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was so awesome. And I'm just running and I'm like, oh, I got it, guys. Okay, I'm going to get you back. And then as soon as Claw says, that was really impressive, like he didn't even finish his word, sniper bullet from outside the zone comes in and hits me in the head. I just fall flat on the ground immediately. And I just like,
that's great.
Just scream came out of me like, ah! Like I was just frozen, like what just happened? And it all ended in like a millisecond after 1v3ing those people. So that was like the highlight of my week, even though it was like the best worst play I've ever made.
It happens a lot in BRs. It's like those picture perfect moments.
Yes.
Like earlier I dropped the zip line and Hove and Sam were trying to jump up and get it, and I was like, ha ha ha, later nerds. And right when I got down there, I got fucking smoked by like 2 different teams instantly. And I was like, oh well, look who's laughing now.
But that's kind of what keeps you playing at the same time. Like it's like, yeah, you can go and win a game, like maybe, and that keeps you playing. But if you make a great play and then die, it's like, oh, well, I just had that great play, maybe I can do it again and win. You know, like it makes you want to keep trying one more time. So that was like a part of my week, but also I got to finish up doubles, Crimson doubles. And Mana, this has to do with what you said, because you said you wanted to jump into Anthem. And for me, it was I was trying to finish Crimson Days because I had got the bow at the beginning of the week, and I was like, I need to jump back in. And it was Monday or Tuesday before reset, and I was finishing up the doubles, and I went on like 4 more games. I did 13 total games, didn't lose a single one. And then when I was done with the last game, I was like, okay, I got to go to the tower and get the thing, go load into the tower. All the Valentine stuff is falling, and I go to Shaxx and he doesn't have the Crimson Day stuff anymore. Even though the zone, all the stuff's falling, I'm like, wait, what? I missed it by like seconds, like getting it. And so wasn't able to complete the thing, but it was fun playing doubles for me, even like solo. The thing is there just wasn't very many other people doing it. And so it felt like I just didn't have that many friends to play with the event, which is something I'm sure we'll get to talk to more later as far as Destiny goes. But that's pretty much my week. Triton, we haven't got to hear from you yet.
We don't want to hear from him.
Well, let me tell you, I had this amazing dinner tonight. So I went to Eden Park and got the soup burger and fries. The fries were the real fries because it's the one out in Robinson. So that actually, you know what? It's weird. I've been to that one with Hove a few times. But anyways, so I go to that one, which has the real fries, and got the ranch. It was awesome. May have been a little bit better if it wasn't just by myself, but I still enjoyed it, regardless. So
do you want to go? Do you want to go again tonight after the show?
No, that's weird though, because it's gonna be the same staff. They'll think there's like a problem. I don't want to. I'm not gonna go again.
That's a terrible excuse.
That was such a quick response.
Same staff though, like that seems weird.
It won't be the same staff. It'll be after Midnight Crowd.
No, I don't know.
Do you have their
remember him.
Do you have their schedules memorized?
No, I just have a feeling because I've gone there so many times without you. It seems like that I would know at this point is the bigger issue, I guess. So to that specific location. So, anyways, that was great.
He's
If
trying to
anyone was wondering
let you down
what-
really nicely.
If anyone was wondering what the clan Resolute was like, it's kind of like this back and forth between Hove and Triton right now.
It's a bunch of attacks.
Attacks followed by
Raid.
disappointment.
Yeah.
It's very polite disappointment.
I'd have to say that. I mean, that. I don't know. After that, I mean, there's really nothing else.
You killed it. You killed it.
This
Triton.
is
Just
this is
stop.
this is my last episode on this show.
We did it.
Wendler
guys.
will be taking my spot.
Wait, well, Wendler didn't do. Apparently, that apartment stream didn't exist. So
Wendler is the new host of RezoCast. So I'm sorry, everyone who's ever listened to an episode. You're not going to want to ever listen again.
I don't think unless you're podcast boss, you can do these things. But
I'm sorry. Who streams the podcast? Who's the podcast Twitter boss? Boom.
I thought that was debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable.
I've used it one time, so.
And it was an accident.
never used
It
it.
was an accident.
Well, I mean, it was, but I did use it though. It's like just technicality. Anyways, also did finally download Anthem, or not Anthem. Apex Legends. Played with Lego and Litlin the other day. Although I did just download Anthem actually a little bit ago. But
So you
it felt
ain't
like a
lying.
shot on Anthem.
I played like 4 games. Actually, I played the first game. I thought I was like with a level 55 and a 37. So I'm like, oh, this will be good. I think one guy died within 15 seconds, which I guess not playing a lot of battle royales that might not be uncommon.
Pretty common, yeah.
And then the other guy died within a minute. I couldn't find a gun in 2 minutes, and so I died very quickly. I was like, wow, this isn't very fun. But then Lego invited me, and then we played, I think, 2 games together. And then it progressively got better. And then when Litlin joined, we ended up finishing like second in, I think, our last game that we played. So
Right.
it got progressively better. By the 4th game, I was having fun. But again, like I probably wouldn't be trying to play that game by myself. But for the most part, I
Replaying.
enjoyed it. I'm glad that I finally did download it. We'll have to get some games in with you guys here soon.
Yeah, I invited you to that too, and you told me no. You.
What
fuck.
you-
I
you
invited
play
you tonight, but
Lifeline.
I went out to eat.
That was actually yes. To make it even worse, he told me no, he couldn't play, and then he went to Eaton Park without me instead.
So, well, you were
Sabotage.
playing. I figured I don't know.
Was this out of pure spite, like Triton?
No, so I went to go get Anthem. So I like it's right by the GameStop's right by the Eaton Park, and so they're like, you can come in here at 9 and get the game. Well, I just like didn't hit any traffic, so it's like 8:40. I'm like, well, I could just sit in GameStop for 20 minutes or go to Eaton Park, and like, why is that on my mind? Oh, well, Hove just tweeted me the other day that he'd like to go, so I was like, oh, that's why I'm thinking about it.
He's
then
so
I went.
offended, like he just had revenge sex with someone. Like that's how. Like you went to Eden Park without him. Like, how could
Actually, no. The other part of the week,
There
Hove
was
called me
maybe-
earlier in the week, where he asked me to call him, which I thought was something random. We ended up talking a little bit about basketball, but then he did tell me about this pizza like a week ago. So it has been on my mind to go and check out this pizza place as well.
It's
so
phenomenal.
I think my wife and I are gonna.
He's
go.
not going to go with you, though.
at some
I-
point. Well,
I
he,
would
works
go.
right down there. He actually tried to coordinate us going down there, but I was working from home that day, so I wasn't in the city.
I try
Another
so
disappointment.
hard in this relationship.
Oh, God.
It feels like he doesn't try at all.
This is the Hove Triton couples counseling right here.
Yep. Yep.
And how does that make you feel, Triton?
Are we in the nest? Are we in the safe?
Of course,
zone
of
here?
course.
So,
Okay.
very last thing, I promise. Maybe. Wendler reminded me in chat that I also, for anyone who doesn't know, Wendler and Mana both live relatively close to Triton and I. So when we go to GuardianCon, me, Mana, and Wendler all fly down together out of Pittsburgh International Airport. So I was going to buy the tickets for the 3 of us to fly down there. And we're talking about it. We picked the times. I sent him all the info. And then we're in a group text. And Mana starts... I don't even remember what he said. He was like, if I have to go by myself, I'm not going. And we were like,
Because
what?
I thought you guys were
No.
already booked, dude.
No.
I'm just like, yo, if I'm on a separate flight, I'm bailing.
And I was like, no, man, that's why I'm like talking to you and everything. He goes, because I won't do it by myself. I won't. I don't like flying at all. I won't go by myself.
hear
And I was
you.
like, all right, man. Like, I got it. He was
There's
like,
scary stuff in the sky, man.
Wait,
There's
to be fair.
so then after, wait,
I-
so wait, no. Because then after we were like, what are you talking about? He goes, what did he say? Gotcha. Well, I'm still just throwing that out there. All right.
I gotta dust my trails, okay?
I do want to point out, though, it started with we like said, okay, I'll order them tomorrow. And then at like 12:30 a.m. he goes, yeah, grab me. And then 43 minutes later says, IDK. And I said, what? And he goes,
40 minutes, really?
Or something. I said, are you fucking drunk? I was like, I'm buying you a ticket, so you better be going. And that's when he said at 2:42, if I have to be on a flight by myself, I ain't coming. And I was like, why would that even be a thing?
It's rough.
Way to just reveal me, dude.
It's not, dude.
Also, wait,
you.
To be fair, most of that conversation, I was getting in groups of just Hove talking to himself, and I got really confused on what was happening. So, like, does Wendler ever talk in that chat?
It used to be only me and Wendler, and you didn't answer for weeks. And now, like, the last 3 days, it's just been me and you sending pictures of cheesecake and kidney stones.
Okay. I think this is turning into a counseling session here, so I'm going to move it along a little bit.
Hope's relieving a lot of stress, okay?
I just want to say that us being hot and ready, we have, like, the most viewers we've had in a while. I think we're doing pretty good here.
That's the title of the podcast.
Hot and ready. Yes.
That episode 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. River, Loki. I want an update from you guys on where you're at with gaming right now. You said you weren't playing much Destiny, and I think we're all kind of at that point right now. But if y'all want to expound a little bit, like maybe even what your thoughts on like going into Black Armory and we're about to go into the next season, or otherwise if there's other stuff that you're just like, I've been heavily invested here, haven't really been doing anything else much. I know you mentioned the 3DS and Apex obviously, but any other place you can update us on, maybe Destiny like primarily.
I mean, with Destiny I've done pretty much all the armory stuff. I got the exotic sniper and all of that. I got Jotun. So after that, there really wasn't a whole lot of reason to run the armory.
Yeah.
The forges. And I mean, there's nothing in PvP that is drawing me at all. I didn't even go for the last word. Not a gun I ever used in D1.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gun I'm going to use now. And then Apex came out of nowhere and just, took that over. And PvE, like one thing I wanted to talk about is everyone's talking about like, guns, but everybody is still running Midnight Coup, the Escalation Protocol shotgun, and whatever like heavy exotic fits the situation. So there's just not really a whole lot of reason to play Destiny right now.
Yeah.
So, I've just been kind of bouncing here and there, got back into Division 1 a little bit, working on some shields and whatnot, and Apex. Well, that's kind of been like my last month, really.
Yeah, no, that's a good summary. I think there's a lot there to unpack Destiny wise, like with what you said, because that was a topic that I wanted to talk about. Was like, we've had the season pass thing for a while now with Black Armory, where it's about to come to a close, the first part of it, and so we could dive into that a little bit in a second. Both PvE, PvP side, but also River, I wanted to hear from you too, if you had stuff to add on to that.
Yeah, sure. I think for me, Destiny comes in like peaks and valleys, and I'm not a huge, I've never grinded after guns. Like even in D1, I was never one of those people that like needed to go and get like those strike specific guns. For me, it's getting to max level on all 3 characters, comfortably. Like I like to have like set across all 3. And after I grinded for my title, I got the Wayfarer, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm cool. I dipped my toe into Black Armory a bit, but like I said, I'm not really one of those like gun people. Like I run the guns I like to run. I don't like to mix it up very much. And since I'm more PvE than PvP, there hasn't really been much of a drive to get the new guns that have been out there. I got the one, I can't remember what the name of the pulse rifle was from Black Armory. I got a really good roll in it right away. So that's what I've been running after that. So I'll log on here and there. And like, I found myself last week, I logged in and I was like, I sat at the title screen and looked at my 3 characters and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. But I'll be back. Like, you guys talked a couple weeks ago and you've been talking about, if you need a break, take 2 or 3 weeks. Like for me, I usually take like 2 months and then I come back. And that's offered me up time to go back to the, you know, the single player games that I leave by the wayside when there's you know, when there's really good new Destiny content. I'm not looking I'll be honest, from what I see upcoming, I don't really see much that's going to pull me back.
Yeah.
For the time being. I mean, I'll always come back for the big, you know, big things, but right now I'm enjoying my time. I'm looking forward to the other new games that are coming out with like Anthem and Divisions.
Yeah, real quick.
I show up for all the big things too.
for both of y'all, River and Loki, because you kind of hit on it for a second, River, with what you do whenever a new thing comes out, what like motivates you to keep going. And so I'd like to ask you, and I know I might have asked it the first time y'all are on, but what is it in Destiny that draws you in, that makes you want to play the game? Like if there were a DLC type thing that were to come out, like what would attract you? Is it story, or is it gunplay or PvE stuff, or like for both of y'all, what would those things be?
I can go first on that. For me, for some reason, the light level grind always gets me. Always. If I'm not the max light or max power, whatever they want to call it, for whatever iteration of this game is, that's what I'm going to grind for. I'll go in, I'll play all the daily, whatever activities get me there, I'll do that until I'm max light. I don't know. I think that's like, for me, that's like a completionist thing in my head, which is weird that I don't get there with some of the, like, they added a whole lot of other like completionist things with triumphs and stuff. But that's the one that really gets me. Yeah, the titles.
Yeah, I mean, that's a carrot for me too, you know, trying to hit max light level usually as quick as possible and all of that. But I mean, it's PvP in D2 is just not holding me like it did in D1, and I'm not 100% sure what the difference is between the two, but I really only play PvP when I have that milestone that's gonna get me or that's gonna, you know, level me up or something. The desire to play D2 PvP has just, I don't think, really ever been there for me. I was like, when it first came out, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna dedicate myself and actually, you know, be better than average at this game, and nope.
I've seen some pretty vast, like massive meta swing changes compared to D1. Snipers are always fantastic. I don't think there was ever a moment that they sucked. Shotguns went through several metamorphosize.
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want, man. But like we've seen some massive meta changes from team shotting, which is still super effective, but like now that they've done like the special ammo changes and the weapon slot changes or whatever, you kind of see a lot more people going off on their own now. What really kicked it into gear for me recently and really enjoying where PvP's at currently is I was sleeping on scavenger perks for my favorite weapon. If you get a nice set of armor with those scavenger perks, you can pick up a lot of ammo. That's like, you see these people like Aztec Cross or Destiny Fun Police or whatever, which congrats for movie of the week to Destiny Fun Police. But you see them, you're like, well, yeah, I would love to take part in that if I had that much special ammo, but like you gotta optimize for those perks, and like it feels really good running over a brick of ammo and picking up like 3 shots for your favorite, you know, one-shot kill weapon. And but like I get it, you know, like a lot of people kind of have that feeling right now of like, what was that secret blend of herbs and spices that kept me in, you know, D1 PvP and like, you know, doesn't have me hooked in D2, and you know, and it's definitely in a weird place right now. Like, you're not alone in feeling that way. A lot of people do. So,
can you
Loki?
Can you sing me the Michael Jackson song "You Were Not Alone" right now to like make sure that I'm not alone?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Do you have like a karaoke track with the lyrics or something?
Maybe like a starter intro.
Yeah.
I mean, I can if you want me to find one.
Next episode.
Will you also do? Never mind.
You heard it here exclusively that Wilson is going to sing some karaoke for us.
We're still waiting. We're still waiting on Lego's Valentine's song to me.
Ooh, it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
I was just gonna build off what Loki said about, you know, people, everyone just using Midnight Coup in the Aikilo Shoddy, because the other day I finally went back on and I was like, I'll do something in Destiny here a little bit, but you know, before the podcast, I was like, oh, let me just do a strike real quick. And I started out being like, you know what? Let me try some of these, you know, random guns that I had acquired. Like I got some of those, not the forged weapons per se, but I got like that Galliard auto rifle from like a random drop at the end. So I had that on me. I'm like, oh, I'll try this. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't used sidearms for a while. So maybe I'll try like I think one of the kinetic sidearms. And then I got like 2/3 in a strike. I'm like, this sucks. Immediately switched to Midnight Coup, Aikilo Shoddy, and Thunderlord. And I was like, let's just be done. And that's true. I mean, and I think one of the things with the gun chases that gets me, that we've all brought up, is you're still taking that into the same content. And on top of that, it's content you've done a bunch of times. So it's not really like, oh, I got this new gun. Because even if you have that as a new experience, it's like, well, I've done this strike 5 times. So it's not exactly that. And with the lack of sandbox changes or sandbox changes that haven't really lived up to some people's expectations, you're taking that weapon into an environment of like a long, somewhat dry meta that you may or may not know is going to compete. And sure, there's different, you know, spikes. I think if you're doing like the Suros thing, like I've seen your clip, where you really have an affinity for a certain archetype and you happen to be an above average player. But if you just want to like experiment with something randomly, it doesn't, you know, there's not a lot really to do with it. And I think that's kind of the other part of the equation as well, is even if you're chasing something, what are you then going to do with it? And I think in Destiny 1, there was a lot of things to look forward to, where in Destiny 2, it's like this same kind of like antic ritual that you just devolve into each and every week now, as opposed to something that was really providing like more forms of escapism and like, you know, Forsaken. So yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing for me and why I'm not overly excited for the Season of the Drifter, although I will play it. I think it's just kind of a continual slow decline in that way, without those shakeups.
Well, even, you know, you talking about the way the chase within PvE and like the same weapons that you're using all the time. I know PvP, like there will be a little bit of variety with sandbox changes, which we'll get to in a little bit. But overall, like just looking at big picture, both we're in a weird spot right now where typically with an expansion or a DLC or whatever, you would see improvements to both. Like, here's the stuff for PvE players, here's the stuff for PvP players. And that going into this next season, where unless they reveal something last second, all we really know is that there's going to be lots of Gambit stuff because it's Season of the Drifter, you know, and they've said they're not really doing story like they used to. So I'm assuming it'll just be something like we had with Ada 1. And so we're in this weird spot where what are we getting? What's there for the PvE players? Like, I'm not really sure what's there for the PvP players. I'm also not really sure. And I don't know, it feels weird going into this next season. Like, I feel like we're going to get some sort of activity. And if we don't, and it's just Gambit, that's going to feel really weird, you know?
I hear you. Like the whole PvE thing, like I feel like it's been kind of going in waves, recently. Like lately it's how fast can we kill the strike boss with X weapon. Like at first it was like the Aikilio sniper, the shoddy, the Izunami sniper has been really popular with destroying bosses. Now Acrius is like one of the top dogs for like fucking shit up. Like you throw down a Warlock Rift and don't have to reload it, dude, and just dump Acrius. Like it's super powerful. Like it's really nice, but that can get old after a while. Like I understand it. Like that's kind of been like what keeps like a lot of like hardcore PvE people going right now, is like finding that new like broken thing to like just bust shit up like as quick as possible, like as soon as that strike boss shows his face. But like I said, that can only last for so long. Like
even with that, like what are the incentives to go in there other than, you know, finding this new thing that's really strong, like and effective? Like there are no incentives to go and do those strikes, like compared to the D1 loot that we had for strike activity stuff. Sorry, River, I cut you off. I think you were going to say something.
You didn't. No, I was going to say, I think the other big thing that a lot of PvE players are doing right now are trying to do interesting things solo. Like, I think that was the like runner up today was like the no HUD thing, and the solo Shattered Throne, doing whatever crazy combination they want to do with that. And I think that's great if you're like super hardcore and you've got no other games to play, but they're really just making up games for themselves to like make themselves feel better about it. It's just to your point, like there's really no, the game isn't rewarding for them for that. They're just feeling rewarded because they did it, and hopefully the community can make them feel rewarded for it. There's really no in-game reward for that. But yeah, it's interesting. You see these PvPE players that still want to like go for the game, play it. They're just like making up their own little ways to play it, I suppose.
And really, PvP players are even doing the same thing right now with, I mean, TV, like, obviously is kind of always doing that and pulling out random loadouts to use and see what's good. But then, like, further than that, we have no other than there was like a mid-range pinnacle weapon, the grenade launcher, mountaintop to go for. But there was no new Not Forgotten. It was, and so like even though hardcore PvP players don't have any reason to chase anything other than going for a super long drawn out grind of Unbroken, which I was gonna go for, and I'm at like 4,000 comp right now, and it's like with Apex out, I just don't know if I have the drive. Like, and I'm hearing about 30-minute queue wait times to get a game once you hit around where I'm at.
I saw somebody tweet that that they really enjoyed playing comp while watching True Detective because they could watch an entire episode while waiting to.
Dude, it's really good this season, by the way. So
yeah. I haven't started it. I'm so excited.
I'm so. You won't be able to binge it though. It'd be great to binge. Like the week to week makes me like angst.
Oh, it's rough.
Like, yeah.
I watch a lot of Joe Rated and Rhythm Ryan play, and it is legit. Like, okay, let's get on Twitch. All right, they're playing, they're queuing up, like everyone's dodging each other. Like,
yeah,
it'd be like all of us friends, like they all know each other, and they're like, we're just gonna wait for Loki and River to go ahead and queue up so we don't have to match them, and then it's like, oh shit, now Lego's trying to queue. And
it's funny that you mentioned them because I'm literally in their DMs trying to talk them into carrying Gungan.
But like it's funny, and it's cool. Like they get a chance to like interact with their chat, but at the same time, like Joey handled it perfectly one day. He's like, okay, chat in between games, we're just gonna set up my new chair. So it was like set up his new gaming chair stream, and like it was funny, but like it's freaking rough, man. Like that's that opposite end of the spectrum that we were talking about, how when they start to tighten stuff up for skill-based matchmaking, like you know, one group is very happy with it, and then, you know, unfortunately the other end of the spectrum, they get the short end of the stick, which is the lowest end of players. That high 1%, you know, like high skilled players is like actually like the lowest player base of the game. But it's unfortunate. I like watching those high intensity games, and then like, you know, you're all
hot and ready.
Awesome game. And then, you're all hot and sweaty and like ready for another one, and then it's like, oh, you might as well just go bake a pizza, dog. Like, we're gonna be here for a minute.
Since we're on the topic of like Crucible stuff, there's one thing I wanted to hit that we talked about last week. I want to jump back into like the seasons and what they're bringing, and you know, with the season pass and everything. But before we talk more about that, since we're on the topic of high level Crucible play, I was just talking with Hove and Marcus and everyone in Discord earlier today about how we had mentioned last week, or speculated at least, that like, you know, when they announced no trials, we were like, well, maybe like they brought, because we know recently a bunch of streamers and, you know, prominent members of the community, particularly PvP members of the community, were flown out to Bungie to do something. We have no idea why, we just know they went. And we had speculated like maybe they showed them what the new trials was, and they were like, yeah, this isn't gonna cut it, and then they were like, okay, it's not gonna work, and decided to do something else. Or maybe they just had a, you know, committee to talk about trials or anything, and we just thought it was interesting that none of those people were tweeting anything that normally would say like, oh man, trials isn't coming back, blah blah blah, or just comment somehow.
Any kind of thought. Yeah.
Any kind of thought. Yeah, they were just
no
silent.
YouTube videos from YouTubers, no tweets.
And that's what I wanted to bring up today, is that because it's been a week since that happened, since the announcement, and all the people, I went to YouTube because none of the, like DCP, I wanted to listen to their thoughts about it, and they did their episode a day early because of Valentine's Day, and so I was like just searching for something like, what are people saying about trials, you know, at this point? And I looked on YouTube, and there was like Destiny Fun Police, Cool Guy, and Fallout had videos out, and all the other people like that normally you would hear from, they didn't have any videos out. And I was just like, man, that's so bizarre. That's so weird. Like MTash and
Conspiracy, maybe?
TV, like all these. Nah, I'm serious. Like it seems.
I
like
am too. Cue the X-Files music, motherfucker.
Yeah,
NBA maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm
They're like
thinking
sitting there,
NBA.
they're like, I want to sock and
Yeah.
I can't.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Whether it's a summit or whether it was just they got to experience something, I don't know. I got the feeling that it was PvP or trials related. And given the lack of YouTube videos, I still feel that way. If you're out there and you know of like you think you know something, I'd like you to tweet at me, Lego Lay Flash or RezoCast. I want to hear your thoughts on it because
And DMs if you can't tweet it.
Break that NDA, baby. We'll keep your secret. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I don't want to know any of that. But I didn't mean like that. I meant like
I'm kidding.
No, I know, but just people's theories on the matter, because it's really interesting to me that it's just it's literally the biggest thing in the Destiny PvP community, and everybody's staying so silent about it, and it's just really weird, you know. So I just wanted to throw that out there while we were talking about Crucible stuff. But with the season pass stuff, I wanted to dive into, for all of us, not just Loki and River, but like for all of us, what are we expecting from this new like season, I guess, or part of the season pass? Because they gave us the roadmap, but we don't really know anything else that's coming. There's been no videos. They didn't say anything about the TWAB, and people are like, now's the time. We got Anthem and all these other Division and Apex out. Like, where's some sort of news to look forward to something? And there's kind of nothing being thrown out there. So what do you guys think is coming? Do you have any hopes? Do you have any fears? Just want to see where everybody's at.
I mean, I can say I think it's going to be primarily Gambit, and that's my fear. So, short and sweet. I mean, it looked like they had some good quality of life changes coming to Gambit, which I know we'll get into, but
yeah,
I can only tolerate a little bit of Gambit at most. So that's it.
I'll pretty much, second that with, I think there will be some sort of side quest like there was for Last Word for Thorn. And I think I don't expect much more out of this season than that, and that's kind of terrifying with what's here with Apex and what's coming tomorrow with Anthem, and in 3-4 weeks with Division 2. That's a scary outlook for Destiny.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good thought. Like, it's good quality of life changes, but at the end of the day, it's still Gambit, and I can only handle seeing the representation of Mana as the Drifter all busted up like that. He's too handsome to look that way.
Do you know what I think of every time I think of the Drifter?
Thornhub.
Pornhub?
Yeah.
That meme was so funny.
That's more legit than people think.
I always think the Drifter should be like early Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
Just the Drifter. No. Regardless of that, just like the name The Drifter. Like, I picture Matthew McConaughey in any movie that he was in when he was shirtless for the 15 years. And like he was like
rom-com years?
the Drifter. Yeah.
You know how he got that? You know how he got that role in Days Confused? He literally showed up after construction and came in and ad-libbed that. Awesome. All right, and like they're like, you're perfect. Like you're awesome. That literally jump-started his career. It was just because he decided to, on a whim, show up and try out for that. Like, had his work clothes on, like, was doing construction, like, and just went in there and killed it. Like, that's a gag.
That's crazy.
You know how the Drifter actually got his name, though?
Drifting?
Fast and the Furious, Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo Drift, dude.
Dude,
races cars in his off time.
Yeah. He's got some really super interesting lore, dude. Like the the story with him reminds me of like, what was that? Was it No, The Thing, where they're like in a frozen tundra and like some fucked up like monster is kind of after him. That was like the vibe I got like from his lore, like when they're on that frozen planet and this thing just from like touching him could like kill all of his friends and stuff. I don't know. He's a total dirtball, but he's got some really cool lore. Dirtballs usually do. They usually got a pretty cool story, so. But I don't think we're gonna get any of that. That's the fucking thing. Yeah. Like, I take me to that frozen planet. I want to go after the thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I agree with you that it's really, really interesting, and I think we are going to get some of that. It just might not be the way that we want it. You know, it'll be more like what we got from Ada, where it's like verbal,
which was
this is what happened.
Her conversations were awesome. I love going up into the tower and talking to an NPC and actually feel like they're talking to me and stuff like that, instead of just like rambling incoherent nonsense. So I'm like, you talking to me? Like, but it was really weird just logging in on like the content drop, and I was fully aware of what was going on, but it still just felt weird just logging in and just kind of repeating the cycle with a couple extra things thrown in. And like, hey, they took a gamble. That's what we asked them to do. We asked them to go out, try something different, and like I'd rather them try something different and fail than just.
And I still think it's not the content style like that was a problem. It was the content itself.
Yeah.
Like if we would have gotten all that stuff, like if we just would have gotten like 3 forges and a puzzle the day of a drop, that wouldn't have been enough for a DLC either. You know, it wasn't the style they gave it to us, in my opinion. I think it was just the substance.
And I know that people are saying that, like, you know, in the beginning of the Black Armory, we were like, well, we need to wait a little bit to see how it plays out, to see if it's like worth it or compare or whatever. But really, we should wait till the next big expansion to really see if it was worth it, because that's what we asked for, the big expansions to be like these prominent, like huge, like what we got with Forsaken, basically. And to do that, they had to do like a season pass sort of thing to hold us over until the next like big drop, and just like kind of drip feed us stuff until then. And so at least that's what it seems like to me.
I would say, do we know that that's why they did that?
We don't. No, I'm speculating. But yeah, but I don't. So it's almost like you have to wait to see the big picture kind of thing. But as of right now, because we've experienced one season of the annual pass, and it goes back to my original thing about like what is there for PvE and PvP players if you span it out that way, and it's kind of weird for both sides. I still feel that way, even with, if you look at the Black Armory as a whole in this whole season, the whole season has felt weird, other than having pinnacle weapons for, well, at least half pinnacle weapons for, they introduced them for Vanguard stuff, and for Gambit, and like half a one for Crucible. Like that's cool, but it's like very limited. So compared to old, even light DLCs, we would get entire tower refreshes of gear, like all new weapons for Crucible, all new weapon for Vanguard, all new gear for Vanguard, all new gear for Crucible, and that there's nowhere close to that, you know, right now.
That's the thing I wish they doubled down on. And I know it's a lot harder than it probably sounds, but like if they could just double down on like weapons, man, like I guess like random rolls have like helped alleviate that some. Like weapons can feel vastly different with different rolls on them and stuff like that. But man, if we could just get like I don't know, man, like you were saying, like vendor weapons were really cool. The gunsmith, when he did his what the hell were those things called? The Arms Day bounties or whatever.
Yeah, like rent a gun and stuff. Yeah.
Those were fun as hell. Those were really cool. I know so many people that would only log in to do that shit during dry spells. They'd be like, I'm still waiting for that Luck in the Chamber Omelon sniper, or you know, whatever god roll that somebody had figured out. Like I really think that they need to focus on like perk synergy, and like that's tough too. Me and Hove have talked about that with power creep and power decrease. You know, it works both ways. Like that's a tough balance, but we're along for the ride now with the season pass. You know, what I mean? We asked like, and that's what a lot of people were like pissed with the Trials announcement. You know, they can't just like be like, okay, we get it, you want Trials, we're just gonna drop the season pass that everybody already paid for to deliver something to a niche crowd, you know, to a vocal, because usually the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know what I mean? Like, and when people are upset about something, that's what you hear. You don't hear mostly about the good shit. You're just going to hear about what the hot topic bad thing is at the time. And
it's like I always
just, like,
say,
drop the season pass and be like, okay, we're going to give you Trials, because then that fucks everyone who bought it. You know, like it's a tough situation. We got to ride it out, basically.
It's like I always say, like, people, you got to take all that, any complaining with a grain of salt, because if you go, and I've probably said this on this podcast, I don't know how many times, I love this. This is my favorite saying. If you go to McDonald's and you order a cheeseburger and they give you a fucking cheeseburger, end of story. There's nothing. But if you go to McDonald's and you order a cheeseburger and they give you a chicken sandwich, you complain. Like, nobody complains because they got what they expected. Like, nobody...
True.
Less people say, hey, I asked for A, B, and C, and I got A, B, and C. Let's talk about it constantly. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So you hear less about that stuff.
For sure.
Lego, I think it goes back to, I mean, you guys have all laid out, we were along for a ride, you have to see the big picture, those types of things, but not everyone's going to like be on that as long as we will. Obviously, I think we've always identified commonly that, having a podcast where we talk about Destiny, having kind of a built-in community with our clan, having guests on like River and Loki that, still will play the game or at least agree to come on and talk with the 5 of us about the game, allow us to kind of keep going. But something Hove and I touched on when the Activision Bungie split occurred, and we talked about, well, now that's all on them, and on top of that, how long would that goodwill last? And I feel like everyone's like, now that they split, I'll ride this out forever. Well, I mean, most of those same people, I think, to some degree, are saying now, like, not in a good place. So no one's bashing. I really haven't seen a lot of people like, this has to change now. Season of Drifter better save me. But we've already moved in probably just a month span from I'm here, ride or die, to, well, I'm going to give these things a try because,
You just got gangster as shit.
But then it's, you get to a point now where it's like, well, it's not in a great place, so, I'm going to give these other things a try. That didn't last nearly as long as I think, we all like to think that it's going to when there's so many things put in front of you. We're all playing Apex. We're all, excited for either Anthem or the Division 2, it seems. Some people are excited for both. It is an odd time to go into a situation where we're not hearing about a lot of things, even if Bungie can't change the way that things are going to come out, because a lot of those things were probably in place, and now that you're working with less people and less funding, to make a complete paradigm shift would be probably just not possible. I mean, it is kind of a rough way in that way, and I do agree with Hove that a lot of it is just the amount we're going to get. So some of these things are going to be a little bit of a game changer, like sandbox changes might be a game changer for some PvP, the weapon chase for some people too. But I mean, you're really, kind of maybe winning people at the margin there. Overwhelming. The more people that have the season pass, I think, want something more, I don't even want to say structured the same way as we used to get, but at least give us something as much of that. Give us a reason to go get that one weapon so I have a new thing to do. I don't want to go get that weapon just to play Gambit. I mean, that'd be awful. So I'm not going to do that. Give me a reason to not only get that gun, but then go into an activity that seems new, narrative-wise or gameplay-wise, that allows me to experiment with that. Because, I've done, the Savasoon strike, 50 times with 10 different guns. That doesn't really matter to me at that point.
I think the thing that I realized that has kind of kept me from playing, and I don't want to say definitively that this content would have kept me around more if this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but hear me out, because this is kind of confusing to me. But so we've talked how many times since Destiny came out that
a lot.
123 episodes.
Sorry. Anyway,
37.
Let me start over. I think what it is more the gaming landscape changing, and it happened at a lot slower rate than had been talked about. Many times throughout Destiny coming out, every slow period, every drought, what's everyone say? Oh, Destiny better get it together before Division. Destiny better get it together before Anthem. All these games were going to kill Destiny. Obviously, that was hyperbole. That wasn't going to happen. But the thing that hit me, just as we've been talking here today, really, is that just the number of games, whether they're direct competitors of Destiny or not, is what's really having me not come back. I mean, there's stuff now that if this was Destiny 1 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe, Lego, me, you, and Wilson just jump on and we do grind strikes, because we've always talked about how much fun it is to just we just played as friends. It didn't matter what we were doing. We were just friends playing and blah, blah, blah. Well, now, even though it isn't one game, it just seems there's so many different things. Like, we all play PUBG together. We all play Apex together. Most of us play Overwatch together. There isn't a, hey, we all want to hang out, so let's go grind this thing in Destiny. There's so many different choices. At least, like I said, for me, it was a much more gradual thing, but I kind of realize now, I still play with the same people. I don't give a shit what we're doing. So why do something that's monotonous or is the same thing we've done? We didn't have that option as much, I don't think, before. Does that make sense?
That's not a bad thing. I mean,
exactly.
As gamers, that's good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Hove, I think that does make sense. And you've credited me a couple times when we've talked lately about
I'll
just the
never
sheer
credit you
not
again.
playing. Yeah, well, okay. Well, you know what? That's great because you didn't include me and Mana in the friends that would be able to do strikes with you. That's messed up.
Well, there's only 3.
Well, I mean, like you could have. Well, I love Wilson, but you could have like put me in there instead of like Lego one time. I mean, I love Lego too. I just mostly don't like you actually. So now I think about it, if Triton could play strikes with Wilson and Lego or Mana, that would have been perfect.
Triton is gangster tonight. He does not give a
I mean, we've
fuck.
talked a little bit about just like burnout. I mean, in truth, we've been on like a pretty cool 5-year ride almost that's primarily been stitched together by a great community, solid gunplay with occasional narrative spikes. So I mean, to be able to kind of sit back now and want to do something that we've done so many times, I mean, it is tough, especially in, like you guys talked about, in the face of like direct or indirect competition for games that you've maybe either put aside for the longest time or things that you're just your community's kind of like, you made that core 5 or 6 friends and now they're doing something else.
Yeah. It's not for lack of trying, dude. Like all throughout D1, we had 6 like episodes, like you would call them DLCs, like Taken King, even Taken Spring. I'm counting. That's like 6, roughly. Coming up to Drifter, that'll be like the 6th little bonus that we've gotten in 2 years. I mean, this is not a lack of trying. That like they're trying to give us stuff. It's just not hitting home for some reason. Like I don't know, man. Like I just don't know if like we're just so jaded after D1. You know what I mean? Like
I want you to sing that to me too.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is, but it's tough.
Well, I like what River said. Like that's okay. Like. And I think that rings true for me, particularly in this moment when I hear that my favorite game mode, Trials, isn't coming back. I get it. Like, it's like, yeah, I have we discussed it last week with how this new thing, Battle Royales, are out and popular where they weren't before. It was kind of like very niche previously, that have taken that adrenaline rush of a tournament and put it into a 30-minute format, whereas Trials was like an hour and a half experience. And when Destiny 2 came out, it was like a 2-hour long experience. And it was like, man, I want to get that rush in a shorter amount of time. And so if Trials would have come back, like maybe they're right and it needs to be different than it was previously. And so if they're holding it off to make something better with that same experience, I'm not really speaking for PvE. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But as far as Trials go, because that's what I relate to personally, if they want to take their time to do that and I can go play Apex with my friends or, jump back in occasionally for Destiny to play with a 6-fire team, or something, that's great. As long as like I'm playing my friends other games, there's lots of different options out right now and we still have the community we've always had. I think that's great. Like that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with other games coming out that are pushing Destiny to be something better than it was. Like that is actually kind of exciting to think of a better version of Trials, like Hove has always wanted since the beginning of D2.
Matt Grundy said in chat, there's our weekly Matt Grundy shout out.
Grundy for the week. Matt Grundy.
He said, I think Bungie knows they won't, quote, win our attention this season. That's why they're taking it easy this time, sitting out because they knew they'd lose. Which, I mean, maybe win and lose are slight, extremes. Maybe not a win or a loss type of thing, but just with how many hyped things are out right now and we're coming out, is it something that you want to put a small DLC out against? Do you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not a bad way of looking at it.
Also, you talking about the repetitive things that you do with your friends and the way the game environment has changed. If Bungie... I'm trying to think, like, if Apex didn't come out, would I be playing more Destiny than I am now? Because that is the only thing. Because Anthem, The Division, those don't really draw me as much. And so, like... But then I think about, like, well, I was playing PUBG before that. There's always something else out right now. I'm just really curious what is going to come next. And let me pose another question to all of you. It is maybe a little more specific. Do you think that Bungie should have released more information about what's coming? Like, other than because all we really have is the patch notes that are coming, and we have the like little roadmap thing that we got at the beginning of last season. And of all that we have.
Uh-oh.
Other than that's kind of all that we have. Other than what is it? Last season we even got like, here's the pinnacle weapons that you're gonna be able to chase, and we don't even know that. So do y'all think they should have released that information already, or is it fine because all this other stuff's coming out right now?
That was actually one thing I wanted to talk about. It seems like we have very little information on what is coming in this season. Whether it be any PvP pinnacle weapon or anything regarding PvE, and even just what the season is about. I mean, we're assuming it's going to be about Gambit, especially with the TWAB today and, all the quality of life changes coming to Gambit. But there still is no real information about what this whole season entails.
There's not much time left till the 5th either.
Right. I mean, it's less than 2 weeks at
We're
this
on the
point.
cusp.
I feel like, and that's what I meant earlier, where it's a pretty precarious time with Apex. I feel like pulling a lot of the PvP community, and Anthem is going to pull a lot of the PvE community. I really think so. And then right after that's Division 2.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, we keep hearing about, we've been hearing Destiny Killer for 4+ years now, and nothing's happened yet. And I've always been under the impression that if anything's going to kill Destiny, it's going to be Destiny.
I was going to say the words right out of my mouth. We say that all the time. We're like, the only thing that's going to kill Destiny is Destiny, and I'm like, that's that. Like, I wonder if they're kind of taking like a sit back and like let other games have their moment to shine.
Maybe reevaluate,
lick your wounds.
Like, take the spotlight so they can sit back and be like, okay, let's plan a little bit while everyone else plays something different, maybe. Or does what they want, just
they'll be back.
I feel like you really have to come back strong then if that's going to be your tactic. I mean, just to think like at any point as a business, say we're going to go away from we're going to let other people cut into our like a limited amount of attention so they can grab whether it's a consumer's intellectual market share to play that or their desire and say we're going to come back with this. Well, we already know what they're probably going to come back with, like unless they come back with a fully revamped trials that they're keeping secret. And I don't believe that they're not telling us stuff because they think it's going to fail. I mean, I could maybe see that, but I'm just not sure too many people adopt that strategy. Like, we think they're going to hate this, so let's say nothing at all. I mean, that backs you into a pretty tough corner. And then if you then at that point, if you don't come back with something that's going to blow everybody's mind after the silence, you're probably in a even worse spot because you just allowed a bunch of places to take that. I don't know if anybody's strategy. I'd be really surprised if that's.
It depends though.
If that's their strategy.
If you've got a group of like customers that are constantly breathing down your neck and bitching all the time, and like you just want to kind of sit back and fix your game, and you need a break, the annual pass could be a good opportunity for that. Let us give you a little light sprinkle. Well, we got the majority of people working on stuff. Like, they might want some time out of the spotlight right now. Like, I mean, there's no such thing as bad press, so to speak, like, which I totally disagree with that saying, but like there might be a moment where they're like, we just need a fucking moment here to like collect, and you guys like already being like more, what's next, like what can we talk about? And then like that brings up a whole other thing too, is like what you can and can't talk about. Like with all these different forms of social media, like there's people nowadays that have jobs that are specifically telling people what they can and can't post about said company for the day. You know what I mean? So like announcements are in a fickle position. Back in the day, post that shit in Nintendo Power and Game Informer or whatever, and you're good to go. You know what I mean? Like nowadays,
I agree with that, Will. So I agree that to some degree. I just don't know if your plan can be, let us not be in the minds of anybody because we're afraid that it's a lose-lose, or we're afraid that if we say something, they're not going to like it. Or if you just overanalyze every part of it and that's the reason you're staying out of it, I mean, that's like something you would do. Like, oh, I don't want the cool kid to dislike me. I mean, you could do that if as an individual, as like a company, as an entity, to put yourself out to say like, I don't think that we're going to look good in the face of our competition. I don't know about that. Now, in terms of analyzing what needs to be said and maybe making sure that when you come forth, I agree 100% with you.
Right.
But I'm under the premise of we don't think we'll look good compared to what Anthem's doing right now. I don't know if
they're not going to make any more money.
That's tough.
Off the pass. The people who have already paid for it are going to pay for it. They're not announcing anything else in between there that's going to give them any more financial income. So why would you want to try to like look the best during your worst kind of, and that's where I'm coming from. Like, it's like a lick your wounds and come back like Rocky and whoop that ass.
But then you have to come back like Rocky.
That's
right?
what I agree.
You can't come back with like 3 rounds of Gambit will make that 3rd round faster.
Totally.
I
agree.
Listen,
you're not coming back with Rocky. You're coming back with like Dead Mick at that point.
Fair enough.
My thing wasn't like, oh, it will look bad compared to something, but when you're comparing what is at best, forget that we're doing a subscription type of season pass. Pretend it was a full, House of Wolves type of DLC. No matter how good it is, a $10, $15, $20 DLC is going to get buried under really hyped, long-awaited releases. I'm not talking for a long period of time. I'm just talking about within the same week or month.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Titanfall. Everyone who actually played it fucking raved about it. Both of them.
Loved it.
1 and 2.
Loved
but
it.
their release timing was so bad. They released right with Battlefield and Call of Duty, I believe it was.
It was atrocious. Like, EA literally cock-blocked themselves on that for some reason.
If they come out a month
Yes.
earlier or later, that game may have totally different sales numbers. But they got completely buried beneath bigger releases that were more hyped, more anticipated.
Overshadowed.
And I mean, we're seeing that now really with Apex, because now that they've released kind of on their own, I know it's a BR, it's hot, but it's the Titanfall world with Titanfall gunplay that everybody was like, I'm so glad I this is here because I loved Titanfall, right?
And it was kind of like a hot time to drop it because it was right before like the buildup of like these 2 giant games coming out, like Anthem and Division.
They
like,
beat them to it.
Yeah, like maybe we can snag the spotlight real quick. Destiny, like we're talking about, is dying down, and then these 2 are just right there, right around the corner. Like, let's just jump in. Right
I mean,
here.
it's no different than the movie business. I mean, how many times do theatrical releases of movies get moved around? Do you remember the whole Batman versus Superman and I don't remember, was it Captain America?
It was the first Captain America, Cap 2, was it?
I think it was Civil War.
Civil War,
yeah.
And they were supposed to release within a week of each other, or maybe the same week. And as soon as like the hype started to build, all of a sudden Batman vs Superman moved by a huge amount, because you're just hurting yourself at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's so much like I said, oh, well, I want the cool kid to like me, or we're not going to look good compared to that, but it's just the realist, the reality of it, And that's a marketing thing.
And who's to say they're not going to like come out with the next Forsaken? I mean, you know what I mean? That's what I think that's what they're doing right now. They have this slow dribble. They got their money to start working on the next big thing. It's going to come out in maybe, I don't know, 6 months from now, a year from now, who knows? But they're working on their next Forsaken. I bet they have most of their resources working on what they're going to drop for year 3.
Yeah. Also, who knows? They might have actually hit an internal struggle that just no one actually knows about. Maybe that transitioning from Activision, they hit something and they have to take it slow. So now they're kind of like in the backseat, but not necessarily wanting to be in the backseat. But they just had to,
Well, to sum it up on a very broad spectrum, I've been talking to Wendler in chat about this because Wenny's stubborn and likes to argue things that aren't even being argued. But I said to him, I was like,
he can't even defend himself right now.
Was it the major deciding factor in how and when they're releasing content? No, I'm 100% sure it's not. But it's completely naive to think that companies don't base some of their things around their competition. I mean, that's just a fact.
Well, yeah, for
100%.
sure. For sure. You're right.
Boom.
No, I don't think anyone. Was Wendler disagreeing with that? I don't think
Wendler just disagrees with everything.
Okay.
This is true. This
is not attack.
No, I mean,
I'm behind.
I'm behind you. You understand those things. I just say, like, if you don't come then back with something like River mentioned, they can come back with like the version of Forsaken 2, and it's all great. But when you're going to take yourself out of kind of any form of communication, more or less, which is what Loki opened with, and whether that's amidst all these other things releasing, which are kind of new IPs for the most part. I mean, not Division 2, but Anthem, of course, whereas Destiny's on kind of a much more mature product cycle. I think when you do come back, though, if you do come back only with, like I said, that was being sarcastic, like a 3rd round of Gambit enhancement, then you've just destroyed yourself. Whenever they do choose to come back, if that's the reason they're declining to have a lot of information about what the season's going to be beyond what we know, then I think it has to come back with some kind of major catch at that point, because then you're like, well, we're gone. Oh, we're back, and we're back with something that you've always wanted. I think that works. I'm just not sure. I mean, like, Hove used the McDonald's one. Like, when you come back with a McRib every year, that seems to work. But if they took the fish fillet off the menu and brought that back 2 months later, I don't think anyone would give a shit.
Shamrock shakes are back.
I'd riot.
Yeah, I did see that.
Shamrock shakes.
They're back?
Yeah,
they are back.
Oh, I can't eat them because of the diet.
Yo, fuck that diet, man. That shit's about to
Dude,
get.
only
You're just
back,
putting on
those
winter
are only back
weight,
once
bro.
a year, man. You
One free day.
get off the diet.
Dude, literally the calories in one Shamrock Shake is like as much as I eat in
yeah.
a week.
No, in all seriousness, I don't remember any of the numbers, but I remember seeing a thing that
Diet
like
is that?
the worst menu item at McDonald's for you, like fat and calories, is a milkshake. They're
Really?
made, yeah, they're awful.
Probably common. Same with Chick-fil-A, probably too.
But they're so good.
They're so good and so
Hey.
worth it, man.
Did anybody
Get out there and
did-
live a little,
did-
manna.
I just want to know if anybody who listened to last week's went and found that article about how Chick-fil-A
how to make-
sandwiches
I
are
actually
made.
wanted to look it up because I love watching shit like that.
It's so
like,
cool. I'll
like-
send it to you right now.
I don't want to
But
know.
didn't you also
Put it in the
say
chat,
that
guys. I
it
also wanna
still
watch
wouldn't
that.
taste like it,
I
though,
love
every
watching
once-
like factory.
No,
videos.
it's
so
how it's
weird.
done it's the process upon how they do it in the
Oh,
restaurant.
in the store. Yeah, that's right. You're right. It's in the
Like,
store.
even if
I
it
wanna
ruins
know.
the product, I still like watching those things.
Yeah.
Not lie.
No,
And
it
then I
doesn't.
still go out
It
and
doesn't
eat it.
ruin it. It's this really cool, like, wow, that's why they're always exactly the same and fast and hot and fresh and hot and ready.
They're all clones. in there. They're
Have
all
you been to
robots.
the Robinson
And
one? That
delicious.
new
No, I heard it's like
It-
the busiest place in America.
dude. I was there at like not like after getting that game at 9, and it was wrapped around the building like 1.5 times. It has 2 lanes, so it's crazy.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that as far as next season goes, we want to see more. We want to see what we're getting. I, for one, am going to be happy if, even if they lay low and it's like what you're saying, like what some of us are saying anyway, and we're all hoping they're going to come out with something big later. They're not hot and ready quite yet. But
Damn, so
they like even if they're holding back with something else, I would be fine this season and would come back to play some, even if they would just put some more pinnacle weapons and like some stuff to actually chase after. The only and I don't understand why there isn't more stuff to chase after, even if it's not something crazy, even if it's just literally any kind of weapon to chase after for like PvP or PvE. If they just create like milestone stuff to grab, that would be incentive to go and do it. Because I would do that for PvP if there was other stuff up into Not Forgotten, not even the Not Forgotten level, but the like say every rank there was some sort of gun, even if it wasn't great, just to say I did the thing, I got the thing.
Yeah.
Like I would go and do that.
I just want to say real quick, I gotta step away for a second. I gotta pee, which is really nice because I had trouble with that for a couple weeks. But
Thank you. Oh,
I just want to.
Picture?
I no
Yeah,
no
As soon as I got us back on track.
no. I
Make
am.
sure
This
you-
is on
Make
track.
sure when you take a picture, you put a quarter for size reference.
I just wanted to say the one thing, and this kind of goes back. This is another McDonald's reference. You know how many times we've said, like, what do we think they should do with something? How should they change this? What do you want next? And I always say, like, I don't know. Like, I want them to come up with something I'm not expecting.
Yeah.
Did anyone predict the Shamrock Shake when it blew up? No. They were like, boom,
Jesus.
Shamrock Shake. I'll be
Here
right
we
back.
Drops mic.
Now I really want
Mic
a
drop.
legit mic drop moment.
I was really confused that the railing and like getting back on track both in the same sentence by
Yeah.
Hove, like it just
Very
monumental moment.
I lost my shit and had to mute when I think it was at Gorniak in chat said $5 Hove and Ready pizza. I fucking lost my shit, dude.
I saw you losing your shit, so I like looked and then I kind of also.
I have a hotkey because there's no mute on this mic, so I had to rig up like an all-around, all-inclusive
nice.
mute button hotkey for my PC. It's called Mic Mute. Check it out. Not a sponsor. Yet.
Yes.
Now sponsoring.
Yeah.
Conspiracy Corner.
Code Wilson.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's free anyway, so.
Well, I think now would be a good time to kind
Talk
of
about
transition
how
to
you'll
some of this
never
stuff.
know how good it feels to pee freely until you have a kidney stone.
Pee free or die trying.
As I was saying.
Or presumably a urinary tract infection, but I don't know
can't
about
even
that.
talk over Hope right now. Hope, what are we doing next?
Figuring out why I burned when he peed.
Twitter
Yo,
questions.
you peed really quickly. I just want to say that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really
man.
fast.
I'm really good at it
Did
now.
not wash his hands.
Oh, I
He
definitely
actually
will.
did.
Look, they're still
I was
wet.
just gonna say what Loki did.
Okay, I shouldn't have put it in the hands of Hope. Okay, so we're gonna do the club next.
He actually just ran to the door of his room and took aim. He never left the door.
He just went out a camera shot.
Yeah.
So I want to
Witness
get
my power.
y'all's opinions on some of this stuff. We've got some changes. I don't think is any of us on this cast, because I know there are people, because I see it on Twitter. There's like few select people. Nim Plays from Planet Destiny's one of them, and Swain from Crucible Radio. Those two I know are into Gambit, but we've kind of pulled our cast, and we're not really fans of the game mode.
That's
as it
like
is
all
now.
I play.
That's lightly putting it.
That's not that. I know that's false.
We've been the anti-Gambit pretty much since its
We kind of have
inception.
been. I
To
feel
be
bad
fair,
'cause
I
there's
forgot
a
it was a
part of
thing.
there's a part of the population that we're not representing, you know. But Loki,
Like which
River,
part,
are
though?
either of y'all?
There are two different kinds of Gambit. There is solo Gambit, and then there is full squad Gambit.
Yeah,
They're completely different experiences.
yeah.
True.
Again, when I was grinding for power level and was just going into solo Gambit, it took all my self control to not just throw my scuff through my TV. But
I hear
then on like a Saturday afternoon when we had just a team of 4, even if we didn't win, it was still a lot more enjoyable just because that communication. You don't have that idiot that's running around with 13 motes.
Am I in your squad?
And then
Hope's that guy. Let's get.
make your fucking motes. It's just it's such a different experience. So I'm not saying that I won't back with the season of whatever the hell it is.
Matthew McConaughey.
Drifter.
Yeah.
Season of Matthew McConaughey.
I'd be down for that.
I would
But
too.
if there's a
True
squad,
Detective season 1, especially. That version.
For sure. Give me some Woody in there.
if there's a
too.
group
Yeah.
Or Mud.
together, then yes, I'll be much more inclined. I don't know that I will suffer solo Gambit anymore. There's other things, especially what we talked about with what's coming in form of games, that I would rather do.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, when you talk about being in a squad, like there are certain things him and I cannot do in Destiny together. It's like divorce type situation. I wouldn't say that, but it's like
Crimson Double.
it's like are we going to bed angry at each other
Oh
tonight?
my gosh, that's
Crimson
so funny.
Doubles is one of them.
Crimson Doubles always became Crimson Singles.
A lot of Crucible and Gambit turned into what? Because
Did you just describe every activity in Destiny?
basically every we can PvE together all day long, but whenever he has to rely on me to do something and I'm not living up to his expectations of how I should perform or something like that, it's bad. So yeah, for me, I don't think we'd be playing much Gambit together.
Male testosterone could be a bitch sometimes. I get to say, I'll start off and be like, all right, babe, we're gonna do a super chill, carefree trials card.
Yeah, he's way more competitive. That's what it is.
Keep in mind.
Game one,
That's what it is.
game 2, game 3, come game 4, I'm leaning forward. I might get a little rock back and forth. I start sweating a little bit. I start swearing,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, come win 6, I'm fucking committed. We're going.
Keep in mind when
Make
Wilson
it to
says,
you know what I mean?
"Hey babe, we're gonna play a quick trials card," he's talking to me.
Yeah, but you don't have to then go to bed with him later. So
It's debatable.
Depends. Are we a guardian con or not?
Depends. It's true.
Actually, out of everyone there,
Wait.
I brought Claw, champagne, and bourbon in bed. I drank champagne with Marcus in the morning. Wilson's the one person who is MIA all the time.
It's 'cause I was off looking for weed the whole time.
Or playing Pokemon, probably. Or doing both.
playing Pokemon Go. Yo, you got that weed?
Oh my gosh.
Total low key.
So I gotta catch them all.
Yeah, gotta catch them all. You know what I'm saying? Help a brother out.
I too.
Yeah, right. Trying to catch a buzz too. What up with that?
This is the most professional podcast of all time.
This is the best. Oh my god.
You don't have to be
Dude,
professional
I don't
to be
know.
entertaining, Lego. You just gotta be hot and ready.
Having
That's
played
true.
Pokemon Go and like awkwardly being around strangers, I could totally see like Wilson just being like, you know, hey, we about to catch this Articuno. Also, do you got some weed? Like I could just totally see like, Wilson just being like, so just like, hey man, we're gonna do this. Also,
No,
it's
you
about
gotta you gotta witness Wilson though. It's like this like unspoken, like he just like talks to someone and he'll be like, yeah, that dude definitely has weed. I'm gonna go talk to him.
We know our own kind. Sure. Like Toucan Sam, follow your nose. You
They
know
have
what
like
I'm
an
saying?
internal sensor. They're like, wait, he's in the area.
Like,
Hold on, there.
like y'all smell that? And they're like, Wilson, calm down. I'm
Radar
like, no,
beacon.
seriously. Y'all
He
smell
actually
that?
sees the aroma, like flowing through the air.
Yeah, it's like the old like Pepe
Right
Le
back.
Pew commercial or
Yeah,
cartoons. It's like
That's why he likes Pokemon Go. It's kind of like similar. He's like tracking down things. You know?
except
saying,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure Pepe Le Pew was like a sexual predator.
Yeah,
almost positive.
He was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But
If you're under 20, you probably should.
I mean, listen, if we can't listen to that one Christmas song anymore that I don't remember the name of, we definitely can't watch Pepe Le Pew.
That's true.
Oh, he's totally not in that Me Too.
No.
Normally, I'm like pretty good with keeping track of like getting us back on track, but I for a second there I had no idea where we were. I was like, wait, we were talking about
Wait,
what?
back on track. Gambit.
Yeah,
That's
We
what
yeah.
we finally made
But even
Lego
that-
lose it.
I bet you
I
weed
knew-
would
I
make
knew
Gambit more
Gambit.
fun.
No, I knew Gambit, but I was like, but wait, where in like were we talking about the TWAB? No, we weren't
It was-
at the
it
TWAB,
was
and I was
us
like
not being
totally
explained.
lost.
This is the
You
best
just
episode
transitioned
ever.
from like 13
Yeah.
different categories of whatever in the past like 2 minutes. We're on a roll.
And
I
I'm on
feel
my
like-
5th drink.
Fifth?
Wow.
Look at Loki's face.
Oh, they both
Did they
froze.
freeze?
Like holding like this, like this look like that, but no, he
I'm
was frozen.
screenshotting that. Yep,
I'm on my 5th drink.
saving that.
God.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, we're
There we
back.
go.
You all froze at the perfect moment. Oh my
Did you hear
gosh.
anything? Did you guys hear us when you were gone?
No.
No.
Oh,
You
alright,
said,
so
I'm on my 5th drink, and then you froze, and Loki's face was
Loki's
just...
face was just like it was the best.
Couldn't even.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I am gonna. My face is gonna hurt from smiling.
Yeah,
after
me
that.
too. It's a great episode. Oh my gosh. Okay, the TWAB. So we kind of got our feel for Gambit. We know we're underrepresented here, but we're going to talk about these changes because I feel like they're
have
also,
to.
while they're made for the people who play the mode all the time, they're also made for us who don't play the mode to get us to play it, especially if that's what this season's about. So they got senior designer Robbie Stevens on there, speaking on behalf of the team. Basically, there are some changes coming at the beginning of the season. And some big ones too. The first one that's coming up is change the third round of Gambit to a Primeval Rush sudden death, and this will speed up Gambit matches overall and add a change of pace to the final round. I actually think this is a pretty fantastic change. It reminds me of like how in doubles or at the end of trials, if there's a tie, there would be like this sudden death thing that happened, and that's kind of what this is, a third match sudden death for the PvP game type. It sounds awesome.
I will say, as we've noted, that none of us really play Gambit. The only person I've really seen any feedback from on this was Marcus, who plays a lot of Gambit, was like, yeah,
Oh.
that sounds stupid. I don't like it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it was like he was talking to you.
Oh.
I like it because
I hadn't seen it yet.
because I would rather lose another round and just have the game be over with and go to a fucking third round personally. So if this
Absolutely.
speeds it up, bravo.
I'm with you, Wilson. If we lose
Yeah.
that first game, I'm tanking that second one. Sorry, Bluebies.
We
Like, I
talked
just want
about
it to
that
be
for
done.
Breakneck. I was like, there might have been a game or two that we threw. You know, we we're just like, let's get this shit over with. Like,
His exact words were, hate the round 3 Gambit change.
Oh man. Well, I think, like, as someone who doesn't play very much Gambit, it sounds fun. I'm curious if you play Gambit, I want you to tweet us at RezoCast and let us know like what you're feeling about these changes, because I think it sounds fun. And Triton, I would think that you would think it sounds better because you've
Yeah, I
complained
do.
a lot about how that third round really gets to you. Is like, I've already put so much time into
Yeah, probably
this.
20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think I did tweet that out, I think earlier on that I think it's a good change for me just because like I don't really like to play a lot of Gambit. So like Wilson, sometimes you get to that third game and you're like this, but for me, it's also the incentive to do so. So when you kind of weigh that may have taken 25 minutes to get a blue, and you could have probably played maybe 3 Crucible games, you could have done maybe 2 strikes, and that may have come with a powerful engram or a better chance at a legendary. I mean, it really is just, time versus reward. And I think that for Gambit, the third round going faster may take it down to more consistently 20 minutes if it's like mildly competitive, but to me, it's still the incentive at the other end too. Like, I would like to see, if it goes to round 3, a higher propensity for getting like a reward. To me, those 2 things combined would probably make it me worth at least trying more than no times a week.
I think it could make that second round a little strategic, because whether or not you want to super, knowing that you're going to have that primeval come in right away and everything, it's going to be interesting. I'm assuming no one's going to have heavy to start that third round then. So I don't know if there's going to be any changes, coming in there. Like maybe you carry over your heavy to the next round.
Maybe you start with no super. Maybe it's just
it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, Loki brings up some good points.
Use it.
That would be really cool if there wasn't any. To me, that sounds better, that there isn't heavy, so people who have their strategy down can just immediately execute their plan, and instead you have to like still either choose, am I going to gather ammo by killing these ads, or am I going to go straight for the boss? Like, you kind of have these choices, and I wonder how invasions will work too, because invasions
automatically up.
Yeah, maybe so. Did it say that, or did no? Okay, so that would be interesting if it was automatically up, or you had to wait a few seconds. It just adds a whole new variable that no one really knows like how it'll play out yet, and that sounds interesting.
I don't know if they will do it this way, but I think they almost need to, or at least I would like to see supers reset going into that sudden death thing. Because say you're a team that you're making a comeback and you have to burn your supers just to make that comeback in the second round to go to a third round.
Right.
There's no incentive. Like, why even play that sudden death? If the other team has supers, they're going to burn them before you can do anything.
Yeah.
And depending on supers and ammo, I don't know how quickly I'd want the invasion. I mean, I would think we've all played that game where everyone's kind of used their heavy and supers, and both the primevals are up, and basically one person invades, wipes 2 people, it goes back up to like 75%. Next, because you don't really have a way to stop them if they're decent at invading, those can be really long third games. Nobody has heavy at that point. Everyone already used their supers, kind of either a host point or something else, and it's really just who can invade and kill 2 people or 3 people, and then hopefully the next invade from them kills nobody. So yeah, I think a lot of those things will be interesting to see how they implement, and hopefully they understand that like just the flow of the games. I think they understand it enough to know that the third round's not great. So hopefully some of these other things that we're bringing up are definitely things they caught in like early playtest.
Watch the third round like be even longer than normal because no one has any heavy, and it just
or supers.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like bullet sponging.
Yeah.
Midnight coup shots.
Midnight coup shots.
So they added some other changes too. They overhauled how they did the invader spawn location so that it's less known like where exactly. Sometimes you go over and you immediately get melted. You're like, or you can see the people immediately. So changing that up. I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of these, and then we can comment on the ones we want. Implemented idle protection. So if you're idle for too long, you don't get the in-game rewards or points, which I thought that was interesting. Instead of kicking them, you don't get the stuff. So incentivizes you to play and not leave. The Triumph Light versus Light can now be progressed by killing any Guardian using a super, not just invaders. This makes attaining the Dredge title a little less daunting of a task. And finally, adjustments to the blocker types. So this is one of the most interesting parts to me is taking Goblin with less health is the new small blocker, which previously was the Phalanx. And then medium blocker is a Taken Captain with more health than the previous Knight. And then a large blocker will be a Taken Knight with more health than the previous Ogre, which I like this a lot because the small blocker being the Phalanx before made me want to do small blockers like all the time.
That was very
popular. So annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
Marcus doesn't like this change either.
Oh, what? Marcus is just a hater.
Wow.
The Gambit aficionado.
Marcus probably has like pretty founded reasons, having on the podcast recently and having, his insight into some of the things we were talking about. I think he probably has a really good founded reason for this, but I actually like it in that I think it does create a paradigm shift in terms of how you would play Gambit, because I know playing with my man Mark Square that like the 5 moat blocker tactic was like gold together. So
Yeah.
to maybe shake this up a little bit, again, probably not an incentive for me to want to play it, but I think it's neat.
That was the most animated thing I've ever heard you say.
Really, I thought the Eden Park thing was because I really tried to really make that one
No.
extra.
If you would have thrown like a bitch in there,
Triton just said he was trying to be extra. Did y'all
No,
hear
I
that?
drink so much Mountain Dew to stay awake for this podcast that today I drank a Kickstart Mountain Dew instead of just Mountain Dew. So
I just drink water now. I drink water all day so that I can not have.
not get a kick.
I inhaled 7 pounds of pixie sticks, so I mean,
But did you snort the pixie
Oh.
sticks?
Did you snort them? That's the question.
Well,
As we get rated.
I was gonna say, while we're here, anybody who's coming over from DCP, tell us if you've ever snorted pixie sticks.
And when you don't drop a
welcome to
follow,
RezoCast.
then we know why.
Welcome to RezoCast, y'all. Yep.
A night of derailment.
Welcome DCP. Glad you guys are here.
I have to turn off my bot. He freaks out. He
Oh
gets scared.
yeah, you gotta turn him off because everybody's gonna be like, what?
Everyone already
gotta
got
turn him
timed
off
out.
because he's
Don't
already-
worry. See, Fortune X, he snorted pixie sticks. Boom,
Oh, there you go. Wow.
boom. All
We
right.
got people answering the
You're
question.
definitely
Okay.
gonna try to play Gambit though, aren't you? At least a little bit. Are you gonna go after that title now that they changed it?
So I have been
Yeah.
2 light versus light kills away from dredging for about 2.5 months. Me and Marcus together were like, oh, hi, kitty. We're chasing that together. Like we played pretty much like an entire Saturday together and like kept just, messing with each other, like trying to kill invaders. And so he got his eventually because I just stopped playing because I just didn't give a shit at that point. And I figured Curse Breaker was going to be my first one. It ended up being. So, yeah, I'm a little bit interested in, trying to go after my second title.
I'm probably never gonna get a title. Not my thing. I like to be anonymous.
I just want a title that just says lazy.
You pretty much already have it if you don't go for a title.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I wanted to just
Or
be like,
bad,
lazy.
like bad at
Yeah.
everything. Bad at
I
Up
would say
Destiny.
bad.
I'm bad.
Oh man. Well, I think that. Did anybody else have any other thoughts on any other Gambit changes that are coming? I thought the idle protection was cool, and mainly the invader one that really interested me because I felt like I felt like people who didn't play as much Gambit and didn't have those locations memorized were at like a huge disadvantage, like whenever either invading or defending. As someone who like wanted to jump in and like is more of the PvP type person, I got excited about that aspect of it, and every time I would do it and jump in to a team that's used to playing Gambit, you just get melted like immediately because they know exactly where you're going to be, and it's just no problem taking you out with the Queensbreakers, which
Can I ask one more question of chat to respond to?
yes.
Anybody?
You don't have to ask me permission.
Yes,
Come
I
on.
do. You'll kick me out.
it's inevitable that you'll ask. Come on now.
Well, yeah, no, it is, but I like to be polite.
Aw.
Another question for anyone who just came over in chat. Have you ever heard of or did you know that Detroit-style pizza was a thing?
We're
That's
bringing
a
that
good
back.
question.
That's a
That's
legit
true.
question because there's like New
It
York.
does
Stop
so
bragging
much.
about what you had. God.
Yeah, it's a much larger sample size as well. We need to know.
Little bit.
Yeah, slightly larger sample size.
Okay, well, the Queenbreakers thing kind of brings me into the next segment. We got sandbox changes coming. And the first one up is linear fusion rifles are getting a change. They're being made less forgiving so they can enjoy a change of pace. They're like pretty dominant in Gambit. And so all of them are receiving a 10%. Well, wait, no, that's the increase. Sorry. They're all receiving aim assist values reduction so that it's particularly at long ranges, which is interesting that it specified long ranges because that is kind of the problem in Gambit. They're like the number one go-to weapon because you can get zapped from across the map in the head while you're aiming at their toe, basically. So that is like the number one complaint I see about them. And also they have a note here about Queenbreakers, which actually had like double the aim assist of all other linear fusion rifles. They said in specifics that it was not honoring aim assist values that applied to other linear fusion rifles, And this resulted in Queenbreaker having over double the intended aim assist, which is insane. And I think most players have felt that. I actually don't have Queenbreakers yet. It's the one exotic gun I don't have that is a random drop.
I saw somebody shoot someone in the elbow once and get a headshot
That's what I'm saying,
kill.
dude.
That's crazy.
I'm serious.
Sticky. It's like flypaper sticky, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
anytime you see a shot go by you and then you die from it, there's obviously something wrong.
Yeah, that's true. If you see the bullet that killed you, that's fucked up. that's messed up.
Yeah. The hitbox on that thing is like 5 times the size.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. I don't think anybody was surprised that that thing was kicking out a little extra aim assist on it than was intended. So,
which I mean, they mention here it will still be good. Like it has high aim assist values by default, so making that change will still make it better than other linear fusion rifles. It just won't be double, other linear fusion rifles. And then also to compensate for these changes, the linear fusion rifles are receiving a 10% damage increase in PvE to compensate for the above changes. So that's great. I mean, they're already good in PvE, and they'll be better. So, okay, y'all are the PvE experts more than I am probably. What do y'all think about it?
I mean, other than Sleeper, I don't usually even touch. Like, I'm not running Queenbreaker in any strikes or anything that. I mean,
I've played around with Crooked Fang of times, but like you're just gonna run Thunderlord. I mean, that's
Thunderlord
1K.
True.
Like
Sleeper maybe.
I don't know.
I'm stubborn. I'm that dude that runs Last Word in PvE just because it's fun to just shoot the hell out of shit from the hip. Like I'm that guy that's doing a strike with Last Word. I
just like to see in the woo 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 woo.
I love that gun, dude. Rootin' tootin' Space Cowboy. Like that's what it's all about, dude. That gun. And that gun
all the way.
It fulfills the fucking fantasy, straight up.
You
got a pack of thralls coming at you, just it feels good, man. Good.
I have something very, very important to bring up.
Oh god.
Is it about Detroit pizza?
No. So I just got a message on Twitter. I got a DM from one Briar Rabbit. And he says, I am very upset by your lack of mustache. Please call me right away. We need to talk about this lack of facial hair. Also, say hi to Sweet Dick Willie.
Oh, Briar, that's what a man. That was like a parent that like got a hold of your report card and was like, "You need to get."
Please call me right away.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to talk about this shit.
My favorite part is he's in chat and he's talking about it there, but he took the time to send me a DM that says, "I'm upset. Call me."
That's how you know he's really concerned, man.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, that's epic.
Oh man. Speaking of though, we got to get some more Sea of Thieves in. And Apex, which, boom, bringing it back around, Lego, to Destiny, because this is a Destiny podcast, and I never derail it. Have you used the Havoc in Apex? Is it a lot like a linear fusion rifle for you?
I have.
You're welcome.
And I love it.
You're welcome.
It is awesome.
It's so good.
It's really fun. I know that it'd be easy to use it and feel like it's not very good initially because you don't have the turbocharge or the alternate fire mode on it to do the single fire, but I like it kind of all 3 different ways you can use it. It just takes a second to spin up, which I initially didn't like, but the more I played around with it, the more I was like, okay, yeah, I can dig this. But I do like I think which mana is your favorite too, the charge up like single fire one that feels like a fusion rifle. That's definitely my favorite.
It was like 55 to the body or something. So like if you're taking pop shots, if you can time it right, it's actually really satisfying just to get those little tings. You like slowly melting them. But honestly, even without the mod, if you're close range, it destroys. Like if you don't have a shotgun or if you're not good with the shotgun and whatnot, if you can survive for like 2 seconds, you can just destroy whoever's shooting at you, especially early game.
I had this. That's exactly what I had happen to me that made me fall in love with it. Was early game. I picked one up and somebody gave me the select fire on it, and just someone rushed at me and just charged it up 2-shot, and I was like, "Oh, what? Okay, they're gone." That was awesome.
Pretty much.
Did you guys see that video of Cool Guy basically playing Destiny
with the wingman?
Legends today, you had a shotgun and the wingman was 3-tapping people and slide shotgunning people. I was like, what fucking game is this? Like,
well, he is ridiculous. He's one of those people that if you're not keeping an eye on Cool Guy, he was on DCP recently. So all those in chat should recognize him. But his plays on Twitter right now, both in Apex and in Destiny, either one, just watch a few of his plays, because it one makes me want to be a better player, and two makes me feel like I'm the worst player in the world. Because how do you do that stuff?
One of those is true.
One of those is true.
Lego, I think you played with me enough over the last week and a half to know that you're not the worst player.
We've also played with Rally a lot.
No, I have played with plenty of blueberries over the past
Oh my
week
god, no.
in Apex to know I'm not the worst.
I got a winner. Playing today, it's me, Dewey, and a blueberry. We get into this big fight, so there's like 3 teams. There's people down on every team. The blueberry spent the rest of the fight while Dewey finished off 2 teams.
Uh-huh.
I'm downed. Our blueberry spent the rest of that fight and about 30 seconds afterwards until Dewey said, "What is he doing?" He spent that entire time trying to finish me.
Oh, he's trying to...
He was my blueberry. He was on my team. He's running into me. He's punching. He's for like a good solid minute.
He snorted too many pixie sticks.
He snorted too many pixie sticks and did not eat Detroit style pizza. And then like there was one point where like he would start. You could tell he was just hitting square, like trying to figure out buttons, because it would start to revive me, but not even long enough that it was like he thought he did it. It was just like he bumped it. And then he started shooting me, and Dewey's going, "Is there another guy over there? What the fuck's going on?" I was like, "Oh, the blueberry's trying to kill me." And then the blueberry just ran away. And Dewey came over and got me.
Already.
This dude's a boss. I can't kill him. I'm out.
That person was lost. They were lost.
Yeah.
Lost.
It was it's what I expect when we play with Triton for the first time.
Oh.
Well, now you can't play with me for the first time, though. Hey, I lived for 2 minutes without finding that the guy that was level 37 died in 15 seconds. I didn't think that was possible. Like, did he?
Oh, it is.
It's battle
Triton,
royale,
you just needed a proper introduction into battle royale games. That's all.
Yeah, you need Lego's keep up with me for your first game, because Lego plays aggressive as shit.
Oh, he got it.
Actually,
No,
we were good by the 4th game. I think actually Lego was the one that had chest when like me and Litland were like, no, let's just finish the game. So
Right.
And then we ran up on that hillside, got killed, and then Lego came later.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Was he off getting special ammo?
Okay.
He was like looking. He's like, guys, are you sure you didn't go through these chests? We're like, we definitely went through the chest. He's like,
now
well,
you're just making up stuff.
no, you asked both me and Lillian if we went through the chest, and we said yes.
Maybe like select fire receivers is just like the new special ammo for me. You know, just had to go find the charge up.
Had to go get
I think my favorite was like I didn't know how to heal myself, or I kept prioritizing like getting all of the like med kits and stuff like that. And then I think during one of our firefights, when I had like a time to like move away from it, I was like, wait, how do I even heal? So I had all those like shield regens and syringes and stuff. No idea how to use them. That probably didn't help us in that last encounter, to be honest.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's all right.
We'll figure it out.
You know what's bad? You know how you can use the up D-pad to kind of get to your healing and like shield charges and all that? I have been using the start button because...
No, you haven't.
I have. I'm so used to other battle royales, especially. I think it stemmed from PUBG still. You go into your inventory and you click whatever you need to use it.
Yeah.
And I have not been utilizing the D-pad at all.
I do even
PUBG
worse,
has
Mana.
a heal wheel too now, though.
Here's what I do, Mana, is I play PUBG on console, and the like ability key is actually like the quick heal on PUBG, or I think at least it was, and so I keep hitting that to heal myself, and instead I use my ability, and I'm like, wait, no, oh dang it, I wasted it.
Oh dang it!
Hot dang it! How does that game play on console?
Actually? Awful, terrible, really bad.
I love it, but Hove hates it because it's terrible compared to PC. But if all you have is a PlayStation and you want to get a PUBG fix, go for it. But I mean, Apex is free now, so I don't know what they're gonna do, because how do you compete against that? You know,
right?
I don't know. Okay, let's finish up the TWAB real quick before we get on to anything else. We
then
only
have
got 2 more things.
We got community questions.
Yeah. So shotguns have changed. Feel bad for Fallout. Did y'all see his tweet?
Yeah.
He tweeted out, he was like, my DM started going off all my notifications. I was like, what is it? And I checked the TWAB. dang it, like just immediately, because he's always trying to do those shotgun vids, and something changes every time as soon as he puts one out. So they're changing rapid fire ones are probably like the main thing that's changing, but the rate of firing for all types are changing to kind of counteract that. So shotguns receive a damage multiplier in PvE activities, effectively doubling their damage, but also there's speed changes. So full auto rate of fire for shotguns is now plus 10%, down from plus 100%. So before, if you had a full rate of fire bonus for shotguns, it would be like twice as fast, basically. Now it's only 10%. Then default rate of fire values have also shifted. Aggressive from 55 to 45, precision 70 to 55. Lightweights are 80 RPM. They were previously like aired at 90 RPM is what they were stated, but they're 80. Rapid fire are 140 RPM, down from 200. And then also reduce base damage for shotguns across the board to align with their new rate of fire on a per sub archetype basis. And then they also, ammo reserves for shotguns were reevaluated due to the increased efficiency of having more damage per shot. So there's a lot of changes in there. It's kind of hard to go over. I'm sure like Dado or Fallout, one of these guys is going to go over what this is going to look like in PvE. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like I just have to wait and play it to really understand like the math behind this stuff and how it's going to work. But they did say for Crucible, they slightly adjusted them to where they toned down the range at which shotguns could secure a one-shot kill. So that also, like, is this going to be the season of fusion rifles for the Crucible? That's what it sounds like to me. But
that's every season.
Yeah, you think that's every season?
Yeah, that's every season.
It's true. It's true. Do you have any thoughts about the shotgun changes?
Nah.
I feel like rapid fires were pretty like what they said. Like it was kind of the go-to. If you're playing PvE, you want the rapid fire. Even if you're in the Crucible, some people wanted the rapid fires to take out supers and stuff. So they were just really strong. I know some people were hesitant to see something nerfed rather than other stuff just straight up brought up. But for me, it's more like I just want to see how it plays out. I'm really curious how it's going to play out in the Crucible. But for PvE players, I'm curious for strikes and stuff. What's the Kilo shotgun gonna be like? Because it's full auto. I don't know. We've talked about that a lot. How it's the go-to everything weapon.
They were also not very. To be honest, I wasn't listening to anything you just said. I was talking to chat, to be fair, but they also weren't. They also weren't specific about the range nerf in PvP. They just kind of like said, "Oh, this is gonna happen."
Reduce the amount of one-shot kill potential or something.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
So yeah, I guess we'll see then.
I would have rather seen a buff. I mean, that was to something else to give another viable option. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We'll play it and experiment. I think we've talked a little bit about timing. I think everyone's about to be back on that grind, right? To get back to max light, to take away a go-to weapon, to get to that point when I think people care more about efficiency and speed than perhaps like weapon preference is a little odd. I'm not going to say bad. So like maybe giving another option to get there would have been probably my preference, but don't completely hate this. Like totally. It's not like I'm going to, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this. But I guess I'm always more a fan of like another option than recognizing that you built one really strong archetype. Maybe so much take that one away. To a degree, but again, no one will know until you actually play it.
Do y'all feel like for PvE activities, are shotguns kind of the go-to? I mean, obviously Kilos is, but if Kilos wasn't there, or I don't know, that's a stupid question. I don't want to put stuff out there that isn't there. Like, what do y'all use other than Kilos?
Badlander is one I use, which is rapid fire. I think
Telesto, yeah,
last
that's
word,
pretty good.
Void burn. Telesto is a great one.
Yeah, it's true.
You're sacrificing exotics in your special though, so
but with heavy machine guns now, with
that's true. You can put on other that are legendary machine.
I wonder if we'll see more snipers like in PvE with that change, if that's a possibility. I don't know.
Be down with that. I'd be down for a sniper pinnacle weapon next season.
Oh man, tell me about it, dude.
Lit. Be down.
Okay, last thing with the update, one-eyed mask. This has been like the biggest thing I see all the time now for PvP stuff is like, hey, this is OP. And I agree it's pretty strong. And Bungie agrees too. So they're changing it. Duration of Mark of Vengeance has been reduced from 15 seconds to 8 seconds. The way players refill health will be different now. Before it restored all your health and the overshield refilled over time. Now the health refills over time alongside with the overshield, so they'll both slowly fill up. This should give a leg up when encountering situations where multiple people are fighting against one person with the one-eyed mask. Also, Vengeance will no longer trigger for players in supers because it made supers really strong. So yeah. That is about everything. And yeah, I'm, not looking forward to being grossly, incredibly strong in the Crucible anymore. But I'm glad that no one's gonna be just like, oh, you ass, and like just destroying everything. At least I can like say it was a fair fight in some regard. We lost hope just now, apparently.
Yo, those pixie sticks hit hard, man.
Yeah. I mean, one of us was gonna get. Oh man.
Yeah, was not happy about the one-eyed mask change.
Yeah. I felt like we'd all be universally like, yeah, we saw it. The whole community.
It's probably a little overdue. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just glad they did it without completely cutting the balls off of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, instead of just like nerfing it into the ground like they normally do. Like, I'm glad they kind of like, it still has a place.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's still going to be strong. Anything that gives you a health regen, marking regardless, just the marking alone, that was like 100. And so to have like you get that healing, like that's a great incentive. No matter how it happens, it's a great incentive to have.
Absolutely.
But I agree with you, Wilson. I think that's a really good point that in the past, they tend to have just like completely cut it at the legs and like...
No, I said cut the balls off. You can say...
Oh, well.
Wow.
Just kidding. Not too.
Let's get it right.
I'm just messing with you.
But no, you're right, though. Like they didn't completely make it useless. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it time for community questions?
I think it is, Hove.
Yes.
I think it is.
Time for... Pixie sticks and community questions. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta find them again.
We're only at 2 hours. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Take your time.
Hey, listen, if you guys would just follow my lead, we wouldn't have these really long ones. We'd have very short, informative, to-the-point podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest lie I've ever told.
Short and to the point derailments.
Short. To the point.
Okay.
So
okay.
What? So first question is from Azrael Speaks. He says, River, who is your favorite cast member and why is it wine?
Actually, my favorite cast member, I thought about this because I saw it, is Eaton Park. And I'll tell you
At least you didn't go with Mindy, so I'm fair for that.
I'll tell you why. I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and
Good
in
call.
my shitty little town of Enola, Pennsylvania, we had an Eaton Park, and I can remember many a night, many a weekend being there at 3 a.m. Brings back nostalgia every time you guys talk about it.
It's so good.
So,
And I'm the
Is
reason.
it good though?
what?
It's
What?
so no.
Lego? What are you
When
talking
you're
about?
fucked up at 3 a.m., I don't
Okay.
No. Listen, is it a high-end restaurant? No. But they have
Absolutely not.
everything you could possibly. It has a very large menu, a delicious salad bar.
The ranch is fantastic.
The ranch is the best ranch there is.
Drink
I'll
that.
take your word for it.
Okay.
but,
Yeah,
That's the
you
most
know,
genuine answer ever when you're
I know.
fucked up at
I
3
wanted to get
a.m.
an unbiased opinion. Yeah.
It's a respectable
I mean, it
answer,
is really
honestly.
in River's Vet. It is really good. I mean, in those instances,
It
too,
sounds.
I mean,
It sounds
I mean,
like
to be-
Taco Bell for Pope Bear. I see
No.
him
No.
No?
There's
I
not
will-
even a comparison to like fast food. It's legit food.
I will say, yeah, it's like a sit-down diner for anyone that does it. Think about your like local diner. But I will say this: I've always thought about the name of it. I'm like, it really should be Park and
That's
Eat.
what everybody in chat who's
Yeah.
never been there says all the time.
So I agree.
Here's-
but it is Eaton Park.
Here's what I'd
so.
say: as long as you know what you're like you're not gonna go there and order like liver and onions. I mean, they have it, but like,
they do.
really, yeah.
Yeah, you get a
Oh,
grilled
wow.
cheese sandwich and like
Like,
some fries.
their burgers
and
are
a
great.
burger.
Super burger
Yeah.
and fries.
Exactly.
Some liver and
Seven
onions.
Yeah, no, why?
What?
Yeah.
Why is that even on the menu? What the fuck?
Their menu is
It's expansive.
It's
Yeah, sure.
extremely.
All right.
Just,
Progressive menu.
first of all, River, great answer. Second of all, chat, if y'all have any questions, well,
I'll try to
reading out
get
these Twitter
questions
ones.
from
We'll try
chat
to-
as well.
try to find out.
Marcus asks, I guess this is to everybody, who holds their alcohol best? It is not Lego. He's off
It's
the
not
list.
me.
Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll
Loki's-
find out. I guess we'll find out at GuardianCon.
We will find out in
Is this what
July.
we're really going to do?
However, man, you don't even get to compete in this. You're a child.
I'm a child. How
Yeah.
dare
Whoa,
you?
what?
He can drink too.
Well, I mean, no,
Dude,
he's
2 years
legal.
ago, a Guardian Con. Do you know how much I drank at the wing place?
No, I
Dude.
don't. How much?
People were just buying things for me
But-
left and right.
By the
And
way,
I was still walking.
because we always have like a full 5 people in our car, and it was so slow that I had to like floor it just to like get on the highway. I stepped it up with the rental car this year, so we'll be a little bit faster.
What are you talking about
Yeah.
last year? It was fine. I was so smashed the entire time last year that like it didn't. I had a great time.
We were fine.
Do you
I had a
remember
great
Guardian
time.
Con?
I
I
feel
think
like
so.
we were really fast. It was good.
Like, I'll take an Uber. I
No,
don't
we're drinking
care.
on the plane coming
Well,
down.
keep
so
in mind,
get a
we
head
have.
start.
I just want to point out we have a 14-bed house. I'm not going to be able to fit all 14 people in my rental car.
I mean, we can try.
For the Uber.
No, no,
Oh,
just
I'm not trying to get a rental car. I can totally lift that shit.
I think actually if I said, oh, yeah,
All right.
they can do that.
Next question
That shit.
from Totes. How does Loki get his face so beautiful in the morning?
Ooh,
Good
that's a
question.
good question.
Yeah.
So, I love you, Toads. The first thing that popped into my head, and it's totally inappropriate, is because. But that's
Oh my
What?
god!
totally not true. Although that's
It totally
It
like
sounded like you were
thing that
bleeped
popped
out.
into my head
Discord
before
Discord didn't want us to
You
hear
just
that.
censored. You just got censored by
censored
Discord.
yourself. Yes, yes. Discord censored him just now.
It was like, nah, fam.
it knew.
Should we keep it a mystery? I don't
That
know.
was so much better than
Yeah.
listen to the podcast if you want to find out.
I like that. I like that. You gotta listen to the
I'm
actual.
gonna-
Oh yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
truth was
blame it.
recorded.
I'm gonna blame it on the
Booze?
morning cuddles that we
Aw.
do. We always set our alarm
Aw.
early so we can cuddle.
Aw.
And
That's too sweet. I can't take
it
that.
always-
We don't.
It's a nice way to start the day.
We hit so many emotions on this podcast tonight.
We do.
Yes.
A whole spectrum.
Me and Sam have gone from cuddling to like when we were going to bed one night, I got onto her side of the bed because it was really cold, and I like warmed it up for her before she got into bed.
Oh,
Now I'm
wow.
expected to do that like every night now.
Oh, you dug a hole,
Yeah,
man.
you backed yourself into a corner with that one. No, we
Yeah.
pretty much sleep separate the entire night, and then it's the morning, and he gets cold, and then it's right before it's when the alarm goes off, and then we know we're gonna snooze for a couple times, so it's snooze cuddles. You know you're gonna wake up anyway. So.
My problem is I snooze for like 3 more hours. Like, how many times have I slept through the beginning of the podcast?
Too many.
A lot.
A few. Yeah.
Going back, one quick question here for anyone, since we have a lot of people here who don't know that any of us that well. I was the DD last year, so I wasn't all fucked up driving us all around in the car. By the way,
Yeah.
I just want to point
They're
that
playing
out.
it safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which thank you, by the way. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
'Cause I
That's a
could
tough
barely
pill to
go.
swallow.
I could barely like walk down the hallway without need of an adult. That was, yeah. Appreciate you driving, homie.
Got you. Okay, next question. Matt Grundy. Should Bungie
Yeah.
be concerned because of the folks over at Anthem? Not because they are stealing the player base, but because they seem to be trying to steal the community. I've seen them put a lot of effort and money into reaching out to Destiny community leaders.
And also, I just saw this today actually because I was scrolling through my YouTube subscriptions because Mylan was put out a video today, I think, about like he was getting a lot of hate for signing up
I
to
saw
be
that.
like EA was paying him to do stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come in and do this." I don't know what it was. I just saw the video about all the hate he was getting for it, and he was like
Mind-blowing.
really. Yeah, and it was like, man, this is my community. I've never received this kind of hate before. I just make lore stuff, you know, and he was like, I just like doing this, and I want to do it for other games too, and so I definitely see there being some sort of it feels more like a problem if there is a problem, it doesn't feel like a problem between games and stuff. It seems like a problem within our community and like us being mad that we're sharing our content creators. Like, I don't think that that's a problem. I just think that people take it the wrong way.
That's a small subset of people. It's the same people who are going to give anybody shit about anything just because they can.
I know, no, but I'm saying I don't think it's a small. I don't want to make it out to be too small because it's big enough that it's like getting, you know, like to the point where Mylan had to put out a video to explain stuff like that. Is
Well, first of all, I think that's bullshit. You shouldn't have to. If you make a legitimate living, like, I don't have to explain how the fuck I put food on my table. So
Yeah.
like, you know, that should be the end of that as far as the internet's
For
fucking
sure.
concerned, in my opinion. But like, it's, I don't know. I feel you. It's, people are very tribal, like tribal instincts. You know what I mean? Like kick in, like, oh, my group of friends are playing this game and I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, it is. It's a very people are very tribal. You know what I mean? And when they see their group of friends going off and doing something that they're not, they tend to throw a fit about it. Like, I think that's what most of it is. Like, people are just very possessive and very tribal. And when their community leader wants to go have fun playing another game, like, cares, man? It's all supposed to be having fun.
Real quick before we get too far into that, because that we kind of went off to how the player base feels. The question was, should the Bungie devs be concerned about that? And
gotcha.
I don't think. I mean, only concerned in the sense of, hey, we better step it up and keep these players around with our content. Not concerned in the way that anybody's doing anything wrong. I mean, they're similar types of games that are going to be played by similar types of people, right? I mean, to a point with the whole looter shooter thing. You know, all these devs are kind of networked and friends, and they want them to play other people's games. They support other people's games. So no, the only concern I would see, like I said, is the concern of what can we do to keep these people playing the game, which should always be their concern.
I agree with Hove, and I think we touched on that a little bit when we had our discussion. I think we kind of dove into this to some degree a little bit earlier on, but I agree with Hove from like a dev standpoint, and specifically if that, you know, to the question, like, no, I don't think at all if you're a developer you're overly worried about it. I mean, you know, if we're talking, you know, marketing or strategy, maybe you're giving it some thought, obviously, but you know, from that standpoint, no. So good question. I think, yeah, we ended up, I think, discussing it a little bit earlier on.
At a very, very base level, they should be concerned about the end, like, product of what that could mean for their game, but they shouldn't be concerned about the act by the devs. Does that make sense?
A lot of them were playing it and having fun. They were posting about it on Twitter that they were having a fucking blast playing the game.
But do you get what I'm saying? Kind of
cool.
with that just, they should be concerned about what it could mean for them, but not concerned about why it's happening and who's doing it, because that's just, I mean, that's why they make games, to have people play them.
Yeah, and uncontrollable. So,
and I'll say, let's see where Anthem is in a month.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that are already at the end game on PC. You know, is BioWare, you know, really aware of how quickly we burn through content? You know,
They should be.
Bungie has had 4+ years of us just blowing through content.
Yep.
And, you know, wanting that end game, which Forsaken did a fantastic job of, you know, feeding us after the fact. Yeah. So, you know, let's see, you know, give it a month. Let's see where Anthem is at with that end game. We probably won't even have to wait that long, you know, with PC, you know, already being out a week.
Yeah.
And a lot of those players, you know, already, you know, chasing that high tier gear.
For sure. Man, are you still here? I can't see you, so I don't know. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I mean, you guys pretty much nailed everything, and there's not much that I could say.
All right. Good talk.
After being the last person, it's just like, well, I mean, I could just repeat.
I know. I'm just fucking with you. We got 2 questions here from Cody Stoltz. One, what do you think? And we've kind of talked about both of these at some point, so we don't have to go too in depth. But what do you think about a Destiny BR? My idea would use world maps and kill mobs to get weapons, elites drop better weapons, etc. Same BR concept otherwise.
At this
It'd
point,
be-
I'll take it.
I think it'd
It
be fun
would
to
be
play
hard.
NPCs. Or as NPCs. Go ahead.
I think I would like to see more of a Destiny, kind of how Halo 5 had its PvE VP, where you had, you know, like 3 teams against also mobs of enemies. So you're fighting PvE enemies and also PvP. I just don't know how Destiny works in a PvP.
See,
with the supers being so overpowered and one hit.
Gambit.
See, I actually talked about this.
Respawn.
I actually talked about this multiple times. This is like faction wars. Let's do the faction wars where each team is a different faction with their weapons and armor.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. And you can have it like all 3 factions, like 3v3v3,
Like,
2v2v2,
variations
whatever.
of like capture points, which has PvE enemies that you have to fight for, and like the first team that gets it gains that maybe base type deal, and then the faction, other factions can fight for that base too. Maybe it'll be a sort of a maybe capture the flag as well. On each base, there's like a capture points. So like by the end of however many points or like time or whatever, whatever faction has the most, captures wins that game.
The only thing I think it could be interesting if they really went all out on something like a BR. But at this point, we're always talking so much about content droughts and everything else. I don't want them spending any time on that. However, what's one of the reasons we liked Apex so much right from the get-go? The gunplay feels really good.
Gunplay, the speed and
Gunplay?
momentum of the just everything.
Could
feels
you
smooth.
imagine, like, to be fair,
Man teams.
we all love Destiny's gunplay.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
that's what
that would
always
feel
brought me
really
back.
good. Yeah.
Yep.
Put
Yeah.
like 10 different style guns in there. A hand cannon, an auto rifle, scout, that sort of thing.
Listen, I just want gun game. Can we just have gun game?
I know.
I've been saying that forever. I just want gun game. I think it would be great in Destiny with exotics and everything.
Well, Mana has brought it up several times that like we just need some sort of party playlist in Crucible that's more fun oriented than serious oriented, where it's like there's like a King
More
of the
randomness,
Hill, random, like all rocket launchers, until they make a Crucible mode, which they actually have. And so I thought it might be going that way for a second. With Crucible Labs, they introduced the rocket launcher where everybody has the charge up
Scorch cannons.
Yeah, the Scorch cannons, where everybody had one of those. And so there has been precedent for a Crucible mode where people get a certain subset of something. And so they could expand on that and just make more bizarre, fun modes where everybody gets the same gun. That would make Crucible interesting automatically, even if it was just like a sidearm. Everybody gets a sidearm and go shoot people and see what happens. I feel like that would be fun, like completely even playing ground. Just to see what would happen. But I really like the idea of just having like you said, man, I like randomness, craziness, just anything that is out of the norm, because we're so set in this, like, your gear is your gear, and the devs have been very on set with, we want it to play the same whether you're PvE, PvP, and we've kind of gone a little bit away from that, and they've played with other ideas with the Scorch cannons, and but that's really the only way we've seen that play out. I would want to see more of that.
Or like not even like random playlists. So maybe just like go back to like some old stuff. Is like, we don't have any PvP maps, like huge maps that have vehicles or anything. Like,
Go
have
back.
something huge. Yeah, just have like vehicle play or just something of that sort.
Go
Switch
back
it
to
up a
old
bit.
stuff, you say. The next question from Cody was, why not just bring back 3v3 elimination as a regular game mode? Small bandage, but it might appease some for a bit.
Well, would you look at that?
Look at that transition.
I would love elimination back.
I do
which
too.
makes me go back to the, they've tried it. Maybe people even got flown out to Bungie to try it. We don't know. But personally, you asked, what was it about Apex Legends that got a bunch of us PvP players playing it? And for me, it was the 3v3, because if your whole squad went down, you had a chance to clutch it on your own, and it's much more achievable in the 3v3 scenario versus the 4v4 scenario.
Now,
and elimination where people aren't coming back.
Where I realize this is kind of semantics, is that what got you to playing it, or is that what really got the hooks in you?
It is something that the clutch is what got its hooks in me.
Right.
If there was no clutch moment, then I would not.
Yeah, the hero plays.
That's what I'm saying. That's what really hooked you.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm not saying the 3v3 is what, or threes are what did it, but threes played a part in making a clutch feeling happen.
it was already fun to begin with, but then just having the ability to potentially just feel like a god in that moment, you know?
But
it's just like, I just did that.
Yes, exactly. Even if you lose after that. And that's what makes people who aren't that great want to keep playing. Or, you know, if you have even just a bad game, like it makes you want to play another one because you had some moment. And Trials was that way. Even if you played a card and like on your 5th one, you had this incredible thing happen, but then you lost, it was like, you know, we had some incredible games though. You know, we had those clutch moments, and clutch doesn't happen so much in Destiny anymore. Like it does, but it's more rare, I feel like.
Yeah. Few and far between. Like,
yeah,
I could go on forever about this topic, but like the only thing I'm gonna say is that like it wasn't until Trials came around that I actually felt like I had an identity within Destiny. Like that was my fucking jam.
And now you're Sweet Dick Willie.
Wow.
And I don't know if you noticed, but when DCP first rated earlier, I forget the person's name, but somebody in chat was like, "Yo, look, it's that guy that blows glass."
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was great. Yeah, thank you, Gary Diaz, for dubbing me Sweet Dick.
To be fair, I do want to say, we had someone in chat say you want clutch moments as a solo player in D2 comp. Improve. Don't blame developer. I mean, I to a point, that's obviously always going to be, you have to have some skill level, but it just, the game mode and the style and everything just didn't allow for those types of moments. There's a reason that you see less from the same people who have the same skill they did in D1, that you don't see as many highlight plays, montages, clutch 1v3s, that kind of stuff. That kind of went, you know, the way of the dinosaur. The game modes and everything, like just Destiny as a whole, did not allow for that stuff nearly as much as it did. To a point, yes, the better you get, the more chance you're going to have to make plays like that. And not having clutch moments in something doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or not fun, but in this case, what we went from to what we have now, that was one of the things that I feel like made it so much fun. So,
and to top off that, Hove, it's not just what we're saying as PvP players who experienced that in D1 and now in D2. Like Bungie devs themselves, I can't remember if it was Cosmo or DMG, but in the Reddit post responding to the announcement of Trials not coming back, or whenever, it was even before the announcement of Trials coming back, it was whenever they made mention of Trials before the big announcement, and they were like, we're keeping it and trying to make it what the Bungie community wants it to be, and they describe those clutch moment kind of things, and we want people to be able to experience that again. Like Bungie themselves kind of ascribed those things to Trials D1 and not to Trials D2. So I don't think it's just a, you know, matter of getting better. Like it's something that us as PvP players and Bungie as the devs themselves has acknowledged that they want to have those things again.
All right, last question we got. Unless anybody has one in chat, I'll try to pay attention if you ask any. Botbuster says, with the earlier release of Anthem for members of their premium subscription, was that Origin something?
Origin Premiere.
Origin Premiere. What is the cast and guest's opinion on that type of release model? Personally, I dislike it as people have already completed the story, hit endgame content, and are figuring out the best farming methods.
Yeah, I'm a little salty. I'm a little salty about it too. I don't like it, even though I have it and is currently like playing it. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm conflicted because also it kind of is like another beta for people. There's like that 1 week period where people could also watch maybe some of the top streamers play through and then try to figure out maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's not worth it to get it, you know, and stuff like that. But at the same time, not everyone, but those people who do get it, I guess since there's no PvP and it doesn't affect anything like that, is only straight up co-op and PvE, you know, it doesn't really affect me as much as my mindset is set. But like for games that have those pre-releases, I get salty because I'm just like, man, I don't want to, you know, shell out more money to get ahead of the game. But I don't know, it's a mixture of emotions for me against it, and it is like, it's not that bad, you know.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. I would also say if you're going to do it, make it accessible across all platforms. So, I mean, okay, if you had it on, if you were going to play it on PC, then okay, maybe you sign up for a month just so you can get that. But then give the same access to the console players.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
with you.
I don't like it. I mean, for all those reasons. But also, I mean, you have things like there's a day one patch, which is a pretty common thing now with big games like this. But it's not coming till the official release.
Which actually, how they had it, I think on their website about the Premiere, if you get Premiere, they put in words that you get it a week early and it is full game access. So why wasn't that day one patched?
Yeah. I think it's
game
worse
to the
than
public.
console exclusives, like in Destiny. I don't like it at all. You know, I just don't.
Agreed. It was confusing too. For the first day, I was like, "How are people playing this as a non-PC?" Anyway, I'm like, my pre-order is like for next week. Like, I got the Legion of Dawn edition? Did I need to get the better edition? So like for the first day, I was like confused by it, and it was rather annoying. But I mean, I'm not a real big fan. I've never used Premiere or anything like it. I know that a lot of people speak about like that EA Origins is kind of like maybe a new thing, right? Like a subscription, you get access to all these things.
That part's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I agree with that. But of course, having that like extra, like pay a little more, and then you also get like these, like it just, it doesn't surprise me that maybe EA is the first to do that, and I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Yep.
Somebody in chat, Tiny Uno and Boiler Boy said it's pretty much paid stress testing. Like you paid to stress test and to play a beta for them.
I wouldn't.
Thanks,
call it
PC
stress
people, because
testing.
I'll be good tomorrow.
Maybe
Actually-
maybe partially like that, but like that's what the beta and the closed betas were pretty much for. In my
But I
opinion.
mean,
like, this
but you're doing
really-
it. We're not saying that's actually what it was, but when you're not getting the day one release patch, you're not getting the full game. You're playing a watered down beta type version of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's also a big marketing strategy for fear of missing out with your friends. If everyone's pre-ordering and got beta access and stuff, you're going to want to get it too and things like that. So I think
a pressure cash grab.
I think they prey on that, you know what I mean? Like the whole, what is it, FOMO, fear of missing out or whatever, that like wants to be a part of it and things like that. And I'm done pre-ordering games. I'm done. I'm over it. Like, I'm going to buy a game if I'm interested in it, and nothing about pre-ordering the game is going to entice me or sway my decision on purchasing a game in the future. I'm over it.
I have one more thing that Tux added. I had a question of.
Well, wait. Loki.
I think Loki wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I'm gonna ping on that because Division 2 has something kind of similar, where if you pre-order gold or higher, you get the game 3 days earlier. So you get it on the 12th of March instead of the 15th of March.
But it's on all platforms.
Yes. But so that's across platforms, but it, buying that, season pass or whatever they're calling it gives you that 3-day access.
I feel like that's pretty similar to what a lot of other games have done, as far as like that you buy like some particular thing and it gives you like 1 day early access. Maybe they're extending that time, but that seems more similar to like paid a little bit bigger amount to get earlier access. I don't know. Isn't that a thing? Am I wrong? Is that not?
I don't know.
Some games recently have done that.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not
sure.
saying every game. I'm not saying I like it.
I don't play
I just
video
don't
games.
think it's a thing.
Another thing that I've been,
I can't remember Bungie ever doing
interested
that.
in, I will say, but
Okay.
I got the gold because I'm interested in Division 2, and I wanted to get those 3 extra days.
We had life things going on
I'm
that
gonna
weekend
take-
too, so
I'm gonna
it's
take
nice
the
to
12th
take
off
advantage
of work.
of that. So
So I can play it at lunch.
It
Does
does
it-
suck. I don't like it.
Does it change your guys' perspective a little bit when there's like a PvP component in it too? Like,
Yes,
I mean, for
absolutely.
Anthem, I already don't like it, but the fact that like people having the game early and I'm not
that's
even on
interesting.
PC,
I never
it doesn't
really
really
thought of that.
like, it's like, oh well, people are ahead of me, but it's not like I'm gonna run into them in the Crucible with like,
Right.
me and my green gear, them with
See,
their
but-
legendary. Does it
Because
change it at all? Just
I think with as much as the people like consume, we talked about consuming content. Those people that got the 3-day access, like the people that didn't, I think in like 2 weeks it's going to even out. It really will. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
it's like getting a pre-order bonus and you get like a couple extra guns. Those guns are like stupid after like
I'm gonna be destroying in the dark zone that first week. That's all I'm saying.
He's like, hey man, I'm living it.
Quickly, just to top that off, Tux brought up crossplay too, because he pre-ordered on PS4, then got caught up in the hype, got it on Premiere, so now crossplay, he's not close. Another question: how much of an issue is it if you're way underleveled or overleveled compared to someone you want to play with in Anthem?
So right now it's not too bad, but
so you can jump in with like a level 30 when you start the game.
Well, there's actually a stream that kind of went viral.
Okay.
A guy was in the last mission and a level 3 joined him and was playing. The guy literally skipped an entire campaign and played. It was actually an issue that rose up and people were really like blasting the game for it. But you can, except for the harder, I forget what the harder tiers of difficulty were called. Grandmaster was it? I forget what they're called.
Yeah.
But when you get to the first tier of that, then it pretty much becomes ridiculously like harsh. So if you're not to that like, but like currently like the current campaign, I guess anyone can kind of compete in it.
I think it brings you up to whatever level you're in,
Well,
but
that's
you still
division.
get tier rewards for whatever level you are.
Okay.
Well,
That makes
they
sense.
made that change for
If you're a
Division
5
2.
playing with a 10, you're still only gonna get level 5 rewards.
Right.
And you're fighting level 10 Loki too, is what
No,
you're
but
saying?
it automatically brings you up to that.
Oh,
level.
okay.
Like,
so
It like
you'll-
fakes your level. It
I get what
fakes
you're
your
saying.
level,
I get what you're saying.
basically, yeah. So that you
Okay.
can
Fake it till you make
compete.
it.
That's right, dude. It's the American dream nowadays.
All right. One last quick, he's been asking in chat all day. Like, I know you're giving me a look, but Gorniak has asked this question like 8 times.
And it's a good one. It's a repeat.
Question for River and Loki: if you were to get a body tattoo from neck to thigh, what would you get and why?
Oh my gosh!
Marisov.
Oh.
Wow, she did not even
That was
hesitate.
fast.
No
I had to think
hesitation.
about it. I've seen it.
I know
I've
she
seen it
saw it
from
because I
you
saw her
guys
laugh when it
before.
came up.
You've seen that tattoo before.
No, she saw the question.
I would go to a reputable tattoo artist and have them make my own unique one, but
Wilson can do it for $20.
and it would have to be on like the rib cage thing. I ain't going back or below rib cage around the arm sort of thing, but yeah.
I assumed you would have gone Phoenix. You've been talking about Phoenix for like
Well, it's on my back.
7 or 8 years.
It's gonna be on my back. Marisov.
That's
We'll
between
go
your
with Marisov.
neck and thighs.
Marisov, okay.
I don't know. I might go with like
A manigator.
It'd probably be like mostly.
People
That's
are
not
wanting like
creepy.
juicy answers here. You're giving them serious
no,
ones.
honestly, I'm gonna show my dorkness here. I would probably either go with like a really epic original trilogy Star Wars
Yeah.
motive, or like an amazing Hogwarts just backdrop.
That'd be cool.
Respect.
So
Hogwarts
yeah,
is dope.
Those are 2 of my all-time loves right there.
Hell yeah.
If I was gonna decorate the rest of my body.
Mucho respect.
I'm just gonna get
Might
Lego's
say-
face tattooed on my butt.
Why not you have it as a phone case for your
I was
phone?
gonna say-
Oh, Lego! Why don't you show everybody the Christmas gift I got you? Is it on your phone? No, because you're a terrible
Where
friend.
it is right now.
We would
Do you
like
remember
to
that-
see you enjoying your
Do you remember
gift.
that DVD I got you 3 years ago? Have you watched it yet?
Okay.
Nope.
River Loki, thank you for joining us for this episode of RezoCast. Where can they find you if people want to find you online?
Twitter, River Tam TAM like Firefly, AAT cat.
And you can find me at Loki Kills All. If you've played with me on
Ooh.
Apex, you know is not true at all.
Well, this has been Lego, aka Legole Flash. Find me on Twitter, YouTube at Lego LE Flash. Hove, where can they find you?
Same thing. Did you say YouTube? I guess you do have a YouTube. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter and here on Twitch at Hove76. Get back into, been streaming some Apex, a little bit of a bunch of different
I
games.
seen
but
it.
Thursday, yeah, I played with you for like 6 hours while streaming.
Streaming a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're here, we do this show live every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, so stop by for that. Triton?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter under Triton Please, all one word, the please being PLZ. Also, Lego also hated all my Christmas gifts 2 years ago, now that Hope brought that up. He's still
why?
not, like,
Everyone thinks, listen, everyone thinks that Lego's like the nicest guy in the community. Da, 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 da. He treats us like dirt. Like
I was like looking into the camera and he said, like, listen, audience.
This is quite the spin from the Valentine's Day episode.
You never. That's what it was.
There.
No, last week you were supposed to be writing me a song to win me back after treating me like dirt. You have not completed said song, nor have you found. Listen, I got a phone case with your face covering the whole thing and sent it to you. That's dedication.
I just want to throw it out there that
Or a stalker.
Lego's been or a stalker. Lego's been nothing but a wonderful friend to me, like all of you guys.
Yeah, well, you're high all the time. What do you know?
No, everything's great, man. Everything's great, man.
Wilson, where can they find you at, Wilson?
Apparently, you can just find me just being high somewhere. No, on the real though.
No, that part's true.
Catch a Pokemon.
I'm Lego Lay Hash. No, but anyway, yeah, you can find. That was Gorniak in chat. He said Lego Lay Hash. You can find me at Red Lobster eating all the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Oh, I'm jelly. Why would you say that?
And if you want to know how they are, you can tweet me on Twitter at Ryu Wilson, RYU Wilson. Forget who's next, Mana?
Did I go? I don't remember, man.
Remember.
I'm Manigator, guys.
Most of the time, we're not sure if
moving.
you're here.
I mean, my voice is at least. So there's that. But I'm the Manigator. You can find me on Twitch at the Manigator or Twitter at the Manigator. Mainly Twitch, but not the last couple days. In between the week, I'm just kind of chilling. But over every other day, things. I'm just rambling because I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This is like the first time I've ever been on a podcast, by the way.
This is the first time you've been at the end. Where can we find you stuff, and you're like not sure where to throw it now. You're like,
what am I doing right now?
What am I doing?
Tux is calling me out in chat. I don't appreciate it. Okay.
Love Tux. Absolutely love Tux.
Wait, so at the Manigator. Yeah, check me out sometime.
Check me out.
River Loki, have you guys even said your stuff? I don't even know where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was so long ago. I don't remember.
It really was.
There's so many people that we don't know where
But
we are.
normally the guests go after.
I know. I switched it around on you, man. I'm sorry.
No, they don't.
I'm new to this.
No, they don't. Guests are always first, Mana.
This is what happens when you don't say no to pixie sticks.
I hope our audio sounds really good.
I might be ODing on
our new blue snowball ice microphone.
Look at this. Look at that.
I used the REZOcast promo code
Wow.
for 20% off.
Look at that.
Which you can find at bluemic.com. Use code REZOcast for that 20% off that you said. Yes, we are sponsored by Blue Microphones and transition. The guests just pulling it in there. Yeah, thank you all. We are sponsored by Blue Microphones and Headphones, and we appreciate them. And if you want to use some of these amazing products, you can use that code that River just mentioned. And this has been RezoCast episode 120. What
the fuck, man?
He's
What is that?
hold us up. I don't know. Is he like the, what's that guy pronounce it? The Tootaloo? I don't know.
I missed that. I was just laughing at somebody in chat saying, I quit smoking 6 weeks ago, but that dude makes me want to take a hit.
Oh, sorry.
Do it, man. Do it.
Cthulhu took over for a second. I'm back.
Such a bad influence, and I don't know what. If you are listening to the audio version of this,
we
just
love
need to
you.
take a second. We'll make the clip on our Twitter.
That's gonna be that's definitely gotta be the
because Mana
clip.
just appeared as a Lovecraftian creature on the podcast, and I don't know where to go from here. Thank you for joining
bad
us.
Netflix horror show about
Yeah. Thank you'll see that as that's actually they announced new Haunting at Hill House season 2.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
And we'll see you all. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah, that's it this week. We'll see y'all next
Wait,
week.
Mana, are you Zer?
Are you a trash collector of the 9?
You know those boxes that I stack at work? They're full of coins, dude.
Look it up.
Oh my
That's
god.
very strange too.
Very strange coins.
That was a fucking episode.
Are we done?
Holy shit.
Yeah, we're done.
All right.